Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new week 3. We have finally got ourselves ready for a game, and what a game it's going to be. It's going to be played once per week, taking on Grey Warwick. I'm Hitrain, and joining me on the caster desk is Sin. How are you doing today, Sin?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. Back again for some more League of Legends action from the NUELs. We're going to be seeing Grey Warwick Academy, as you said, going up against play once per week, and both of these teams fairly high up in the standings, both sitting up at 5 and 6 points respectively, I believe. And Grey Warwick Academy actually coming into the season doing better than their counterparts, the first team of Grey Warwick. Once again, this happened last season as well, and it starts to think that maybe this roster has some potential to go a bit further than we've been seeing.
Even without the faker of university esports himself, Kerberos, they're doing pretty good. They got Chazmaster. I don't actually know if they're in LCS order here, so that was a bit of that was a bit of a preemptive. Let's have a little look at the picks and bans coming through so far. We've had Xayah, Ryze, Jarvan, and Bard all removed from the picks and bans. So let's see who will be next.
So with you can see the Ryze being taken away, and Ryze is a champion we talked a little bit about before the game. He had the interaction between Stopwatch and his ultimate taken away, but also with Spellbinder coming out, he's got that burst of movement speed he needs, because he obviously when he casts he has to stop moving, so he can chain people down with these spells that much easier, get a root off, and keep chasing people during that duration, and it can really provide a lot to his kit.
Yeah, it's going to give him a lot of movement speed. Obviously, that has been removed. You did talk about the Cassiopeia as well. Potentially could be picked up with that Spellbinder. Going to be the Rakan ban, and now we're going to go through into the first pick phase.
So lots of things available. Take away a lot of the playmaking supports. You can see the Bard and the Rakan both taken away, trying to deny that playmaking potential. Obviously, the big ultimates from Rakan can be so huge for an engage over composition and can really set up an effective wombo combo with picks like Orianna.
Could do that indeed. Obviously, one of the things that maybe anyone who hasn't played League for a couple of days, all the AP items have been changed. Luna's Echo is actually a pretty legitimate starting item now that Lost Chapter builds into it. It has a bit of cooldown reduction in there as well. You got Spellbinder, a brand new item. Twin Shadows is back. I'm probably missing a couple. Archangels has had a change as well. That has a Lost Chapter and a tier in its build path now. It's a little bit weird, a bit all over the place, but picking up so far, Nami, Varus, and Sion are going to be our first 3 picks coming through. What is this screaming to you right now?
So, well, with the Sion pick, I'm looking at this. This is a pick that's come up recently. It's come back into fruition, especially in Korea, one of the highest win rate top laners right now. And he gets through the laning phase pretty easily because he has that Arcane Comet, throwing a minion at somebody, getting that slow off, guaranteeing the Arcane Comet for chip damage. But also in the later game, when he becomes this big tanky threat, he can really effectively remove opponents from the game in a fight if he lands an ultimate into a Q. Somebody just doesn't get to move.
That's an interesting pick in the jungle. Graves, haven't seen that in quite a while. See, always been weirdly relevant in the jungle just because of his ability to clear relatively safely, but his clear speed was reduced over a couple of different patches, and might see Grey Warwick trying to pull a Kerberos impression and whip out the Warwick. It is going to be that. Obviously, it's not going to be Warwick top. It will be Warwick jungle.
We don't know yet.
And it's like Sion jungle or
Sion support's a thing, so
lethality Sion.
Well, I mean, Sion support where you get control of the brushes and then they have to play around your Q. They can really struggle to step up to the wave. It's actually really strong, and again, you can use your E in a similar way to poke the enemy out. So it's it would be interesting to see, and it is a flex pick that is available, especially with 2 supports banned away. But we can presume that's going top, and that the Warwick itself is going to be going to the jungle. Another safe clearing jungler, and he can go 1v1 with the Graves in terms of once he hits level 3, he has the Fear, he has the ability to sustain so well with his W passive.
Well, Zir, Kassadin removed so far in the next pick and ban phase. What is it that Warwick are going to try and put together here, and what is also the play once per week also going to be looking to go here? Because I'm actually not certain what the Nami, Vayne, and Graves are really going to be looking to do. What are they going to add to this composition to round this out into something? What are they looking for?
Well, the Nami and the Vayne, you can say, is a fairly safe bot lane in terms of the fact that it's Vayne's going to be looking to play safe herself, even though she's not inherently a safe pick, and the Nami's going to be healing her up going for those items to help the Vayne scale as quickly as possible. Things like the Ardent Sensor to make sure she becomes that big threat a little bit earlier in the game. And you've got Graves for that early game playmaking potential. So it's a bit of a mixed bag right now from them. I'm not really sure what to expect. But on the other side, we see this really nice big front line of the Scion and the Warwick. That's going to be really hard to break through.
Well, Play Once a Week have decided to ban away quite a few mid laners, and Vladimir getting picked up by Grey Warwick.
They banned 2 of the picks that are really good into Vladimir, and then so they got Vladimir out of it, and the Azir's taken away as well. So that's pretty bad for the side of Play Once per week. There's Vladimir really hard scaling. Play Once a week.
The overlay's wrong. I just got flamed for that. It's Play Once a week, not per week. I don't know.
So
you tell me, dude. You tell me.
So the Vladimir, it's going to be scaling into the late game and having this big AoE team fight damage. And when he's got a huge front line to help set that up of the Warwick and the Scion, it just makes it all the more devastating. It's going to be quite hard to lock him down because he has that pool available.
I do want to interrupt you because we've had, the Aatrox come through here. Malzahar's there, but it's going to be an Aatrox top lane for Play Once a Week here.
We're going to make sure this isn't a proxy first, but...
Yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't had a little ping yet. I haven't had a ping telling me that it is a proxy, so we'll find out soon enough. As Grey Warwick are looking to pick in their support, it's going to be the Annie. I think that might have also been a placeholder, because, yep, we go straight back to that lobby. I'm going to take that off your screen so you don't have to have a look at that.
Right, Annie was Kled there.
Okay.
That's even more strange now, because it means we've got Scion is
Aatrox is real.
Support.
They didn't say that was a proxy.
Oh,
that's a real Aatrox. Oh, okay, no. No, hold on, not quite yet. Okay, so interested to see what actually the Warwick or the Aatrox will be.
The implication is it's Scion support after all,
not a proxy. Ooh, okay. So Aatrox is a legit pick into the Scion. What do you make of this? He could go for that
into the Kled.
Into Kled, yes, not so it's a Scion
support. Yeah, like we were saying before, it is actually a Scion support, and it's going to be Kled going into the top lane there. So it's a very aggressive top lane matchup. You can talk about the fact that Scion's got that revive mechanic. Kled can work similarly with his passive. So they both want to be going really aggressive in fights and force themselves low, but they have that mechanic to be able to get back up to a large amount of HP afterwards. And so it's whoever can get that mechanic off. Say if Scion... if Aatrox can't get the passive Bloodwell active and get that working, then you've got to look on the other side for if Kled can get back onto Skull before his life is threatened.
Very, very explosive top lane. Lots of trades are going to be happening, and I'm sure we'll probably be watching that quite a lot. Some players are just going to go through picks and bans nice and fast. We'll get everything all sorted, and then we can go into our first game of the day. We've still got 2 more coming up after this as well. And we'll be Prelude Gaming and Best UK Mid, providing that we don't have any lobby issues like we did at the beginning of the day, because you did see on the loading screen, or the break screen, that it was the University UOS Fire from Scotland. Not actually going to be the case now. Unfortunately, they couldn't get themselves ready. So it's going to be Play Once a Week and Grey Warwick.
It wasn't directly stressed.
No, it wasn't their fault. No, they were ready.
Yeah, they were ready. It was their opponents whose top laner was still in game when we were trying to get into the lobby. That was the issue. But coming back into this one, I'm really interested to see how well Warwick can have an effective early game, because one of the biggest things about the way the meta goes now since the changes to Baron and Elder Dragon is that you need to be able to have that early game pressure to snowball into taking those dragons and those Barons, because once you hit 20 minutes for Baron, that can end the game near instantly because of the changes to the cannon minions. You can get so much more out of a siege. And standing in front of a tower with just one cannon minion available is that much more beneficial.
That's the ban's done. They spell "bah" like a sheep. And then we're just going to be looking to pick up the last couple of champions here and there. So Kled is the only one who you haven't seen come through. That was obviously the placeholder for the Annie. Varus versus Vayne. You did say that the Nami and Vayne are going to be relatively safe, but they do have a lot of poke they've now got to deal with. That Scion with the Varus poke as well. Got to work through that.
Well, it's going to be a lot harder for them to be safe when you've got a Scion who can just hard force on your lane with an unstoppable ability, or Warwick who can do the same with his ultimate. And that's that much harder to be able to disengage from, because the Nami wave isn't going to do anything about it.
And my real concern for once per week is actually the fact they're missing a tank realistically. Unless this is like some kind of bruiser full tank Aatrox build, he's not actually going to be able to frontline for his team effectively. He's going to dark flight into a team fight and look to blow the Varus up, but there's still a relative front line put together for the side of Grey Warwick. They've got themselves a Warwick. They've got themselves a Scion for their namesake, obviously. And they've also got that Vladimir, who's going to just kind of run interference, almost like that pseudo-tank mage. I
really like the Warwick composition here with, like you said, the big front line. You got Kled, who's going to have a lot of HP. Warwick and Scion, who's going to be an effective tank. And Vladimir, who's going to be stacking a lot of health as well in these fights. So it gives Varus that much more space to be able to get down these Guinsoo's Rageblade procs and get to the point where he's getting that Runan's Hurricane AoE damage onto multiple squishy members to tear them apart. And the crux of this composition is going to come whether the Malzahar can actually lock somebody down and make these mid-game plays to be able to ult onto the Varus, ult onto the Vladimir to be able to lock down opponents and get the snowball rolling, because they really need Graves and Malzahar to pop off to give Vayne the time to get into the late game.
And what do we expect to see Graves pick up here as his keystone? Is it going to be the Electrocute, go for the full burst mode, or are we going to see him go for the fleet of footwork? What are you expecting to see come out of that? And what is there going to be any shenanigans, basically?
So we could see the Electrocute come out effectively because he needs to have an effective early game. When you've got a snowballing composition like they have with 5 squishy members, as you were saying, you need to be able to get that advantage in the early game. And Electrocute is more early game focused. You get that massive burst on like a level 3 gank to be able to try and lock down your opponents with the combination of Aatrox, for example, so you can get that kill and start getting rolling in towards that mid game, because that's where a lot of the games will be decided today and for the rest of the patch. Because once you start to get vision control around Baron, around that sort of 20-minute mark, the game is pretty much already over.
Double Ignite as well for the side of Grey Warwick. Scion running that in the support role. No exhaust to slow Vayne down to negate some of her damage as well. It's going to really about that all in for the side of Warwick. And it is a very forward-moving composition. You've got the charge, you've got the Warwick ultimate, the infinite duress, you've got the unstoppable onslaught from Scion.
So this could legitimately be, though, summon a spellbook from Scion, and he could switch to teleport, he could switch to exhaust later on, but he's going for the ignite for the early game pressure at least, and wanting to pressure out the Vayne, knowing that her range disadvantage will cause her to have a weaker laning phase.
We'll give him that weaker laning phase. Obviously, he does have an army in the pocket, so the ebb and flow will heal him up. Spiffy isn't going to be taken too low, just due to the fact that there will be an army in lane with him to heal him up. Any trades that go bad for the side of Grey Warwick, though, will result in that net health gain going down for them, and they will actually lose on that front. So, going to be watching that to see actually how they decide to fight these lanes out. Are they just going to sit at range, spit minions at Vayne and spit arrows at Vayne as well? Or if they're going to try and wait for Warwick and just go for the all-in on that gank?
So there's definitely a lot of all-in potential when you've got this bigger front line to be able to lock down one member, lock down multiple members in an AoE, and then set up this team fight where you're just playing front to back, because there is no front line. You can go from killing the Aatrox to killing the Vayne at the back. But you have to be able to get the advantages in those early phases before Vayne starts to be a threat, because we know she can be a tank destroyer when she starts getting these silver bolts stacking up, when she starts shredding through people with this crit build. It can really be a threat, so it's got to be people like Vladimir getting on top of her, pulling under people like Aatrox and Nami, and being able to get on top of the Vayne to remove her effectively from the fight.
Yeah, definitely going to want to be getting on top of that Vayne and blowing her up. We'll be loading through into the game shortly, and then we'll be able to get underway with our first game of the day. One thing we haven't really talked too much about is actually this mid lane, the Vladimir versus the Malzahar. You did hint on it a little bit in picks and bans the first time round. Give me a big breakdown. What is this lane going to be like for the Vladimir? Is he going to get shoved, or will he be doing the shoving?
So in the early phases, the Vladimir doesn't really have a shove advantage. Once he starts stacking up his E, he'll be able to push the wave effectively and roam. But on the other side, it's going to be Malzahar. He's going to be able to, around level 3, level 4, start pushing the wave effectively, start pressuring out Vladimir, and stopping him from having any roaming potential. And that around that level 6 mark, he's going to be looking to make the roams happen, make the plays happen to get his team an advantage, hopefully moving with the Graves, who's actually running Dark Harvest.
He's running that Dark Harvest. And if we actually do have a look at some of the other keystones that have been picked up, it is the Meteor on the Scion, Unsealed Spellbook for Malzahar, Grasp of the Undying for Aatrox, and it's going to be the Electrocute for Janny on that Kled. And also, like you said, the Dark Harvest for Graves. Outside of that, everything else is pretty standard.
So, I haven't seen much of Dark Harvest at all on Summoner's Rift since the nerf when it was still on PvE. You still get 2 stacks every time you kill a large minion. And you get, I believe it's 5 stacks for killing a champion as well. That all adds up, and you can start to get that first auto attack chunk people. But it's more of a late game scaling rune, and we talked about Graves needs to have more early game pressure this game. That isn't going to aid him whatsoever.
Well, we have literally just about loaded into the game. I'm just waiting for the client to start working with me a little bit. Hopefully soon. There we are.
We'll be there shortly. But currently, looking towards the runes, as you said, press the attack on Warwick, going for one of the sort of more skirmishing-oriented summoners, keystones rather, where you can go in and try and fight the Graves 1v1 and not have to worry too much about him once you start to get a few levels, because he's more gated in those early levels, whether he has his E up or not, because that fear can be so useful for both engage and disengage, buying you that few extra seconds to either lifesteal up or just simply back away.
Well, here we go. We've loaded through into the game. The first game of the day. It will be Grey Warwick playing once a week, playing against them. I've just realised that I haven't got the champions in the right order, so let's just fix that for all of you people, because I know it's unpleasant to watch when everyone's in the wrong order. There we go. Nice and sorted. And we're actually seeing a big invade coming through to start the game out. Looks like they're actually not going to get caught out here. They're just going to walk away nice and happy.
They're going for that 5-man invade and just trying to get any knowledge they can on that side of the map, but didn't really get all that much out of it. And it does mean that the other side on play once a week is going to be able to go in and get some deep wards, get some vision down, and be able to spot out the Warwick on his first clue.
Just a couple of mid lanes. Mid lanes both got those minion dematerializers as well, so lane shove is a high priority for both of them. Only 2 people running the stopwatch. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm glad to see the stopwatch meta is slowly fading away from us.
Yeah, it's just going to be the 2 mid laners, and it makes sense when you mobile mid laners like the Malzahar and the Vladimir that you want a little bit more safety. And you can see that both of them here, knowing that they don't really have the early game push, have gone for the minion dematerializer, trying to maximize the amount of pressure they can get and being able to roam with it. But when both of them are running it, it's really just down to who can utilize it most effectively. Whether they're just going to be using it to remove that cannon minion and then continue pushing the wave, or whether they're going to be trying to use it to just force the wave as hard as they can on one particular wave, where you can use it twice in short succession.
Yeah, I have to see exactly how they're going to be using those minion dematerializers. Words are really good for me today, mate. I'm nice and awake right now. So yeah. Airy will obviously increase a little bit of the shield for Maple Wings, meaning he has extra poke and also extra sustain in lane. We're going to see a Dark Flight coming through. Bear Trap on a Rope has gone down, and both top laners just trading relatively even to start it out.
It's really the Aatrox that's had the pressure thus far, having that CC at level 1, having the wave stacking up effectively for him. It's Bajani actually the one playing defensively.
Yeah, just playing pretty defensively. If we do have a little look at the pressure so far, everyone's pretty even. We're only 2 minutes in. I'm Spiffy. Has obviously got that Nami who's... I didn't see actually whether or not Maple Wings is running the mana flow band, just from as much mana in lane as possible. But every time I'm Spiffy does step forward to get himself a couple of minions, he takes a lot of poke from the Varus.
Yeah, there's the mana flow.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Got a mana flow. So mana won't be an issue, meaning I'm the Spiffy should be pretty comfortable farming away here.
And that's going to be really useful for just making sure you can get those W's off as often as possible. They do end up stacking up quite a lot as the lane goes on. It's effectively healing as much as like a Sona in lane, and still being able to use it as a damage ability as well. So if you can use it like she just did there on an enemy and then bounce it back to yourself, it does a lot more for you and heals a larger amount.
Does heal a large amount. Speaking of large amounts, Pappy the Harpy does lose a large amount of his health bar in that trade. Slowly starting to struggle with the CS department as well. 9 to 16. He's going to have his wave crash into him, so he should be able to equalize that out a little bit if Janny doesn't apply too much pressure to him, but should be able to hold the wave here for the moment.
So the issue was Pappy pushed the wave in too hard. He crashed a large wave under the tower. It didn't end up holding in front of the tower, so he ended up backing off. It was able to be frozen, and he lost some CS, and he lost some experience. Now he's down in levels when he backed away. You can see, because he pushed in so hard, it's meaning that he's getting chunked out massively under this tower.
Yeah, Bear Trap and Rope doing a pretty good job of that. Keeping him nice and poked and nice and scared to step forward. Where are we going to see the first jungle attention? We haven't seen a Graves in quite a while. And where do you expect to see him make the plays, or is he just going to hard farm?
It's famous for those level 3 ganks, being able to get the red buff and chunk people out, but now he's going to be looking bot lane for this level 4 gank instead.
He doesn't even have a red buff going. The bubble's going to go a little bit wide, and I'm Spiffy rolls forward. Going to force the flash out from Chazmaster. End of the line gets thrown down, but he's not actually going to get too much more as Pappy the Harpy taking a 1v1 with Janny. Janny manages to get him back. Scar's there. He could find the auto attacks down. There's going to be the res. Both of these double health bar top laners pop all of the passives, but they do get back up on their feet, and no one's going to go.
You can see that Janny was actually trying to wait out the blood well there from the Aatrox, trying to wait for it to fall down to 0, so then you can kill them, similar to like having a Zillion ult on top of your head. Instead, ends up having Pappy the Harpy go down, get all that health back, and gonna have to go back to base and teleport. I believe both of them will do the same, but that's really showing you how explosive this top lane is going to be when one of them gets even a slight advantage.
Yeah, Bloodwell and Scar getting called out there. And both of them lose quite a lot of health in that trade, but they are pretty happy at the moment. TP's been used to Penty as well, and they go straight back into fighting each other. Harpy's actually running very, very low, as Janny does have some serious damage into him with those violent tendency stacks. 3 auto attacks are going to chunk him, and wins that trade out pretty whole-handedly. Has obviously got the Electrocute as well, so you just have a little bit more burst into him.
Well, the issue here is that Aatrox's passive has a fairly large cooldown, whereas Skull doesn't. So it has around, I believe, a 40-second cooldown, meaning you can start getting Skull back if he goes down again immediately. Whereas he knows that the Bloodwell passive to revive isn't going to be available for Aatrox for a while, enabling him to go that much more aggressive in lane.
So we do hit the 6-minute mark. Gold is pretty much tied at the moment. Small advantage, and that does come from the jungle and from the bot lane, but I am talking a minuscule amount of gold at this point. It's only 100 gold at the moment.
Well, we can see that Graves has gone for the Skirmisher's Saber to be able to fight and chunk people out that much easier, but they're not really spotting this dragon going down here. They're a little bit too late. That's the Infernal Dragon going over for free there. It's going to be even more valuable to the team, as you can see that there's a lot of people that want to have that. So you can look at Vladimir, Kled, well, pretty much all 5 members are going to benefit from this.
This is really, really good for them as well. They had pressure in the mid, they had pressure in the bot lane as well, so they were able to apply that to basically just walk into that dragon. Hender manages to start it up on the Warwick, as we are seeing a fight. The Massacre's been thrown down. Pappy the Harpy's managed to pop it already, goes in with the Dark Flight, a fantastic flash from Janny. He's super low, and First Blood gets picked up by Pappy.
That's the disrespect that can come out from the Kled there, and you can see the Aatrox going in, having the ultimate available to keep himself sustained, gets the kill, and it looks really janky. It looks like you're whacking somebody out of your auto attack range, but that's what happens when you activate your ult. You get the extra range. You can just stand still on an auto attack like he did. That's going to be Janny going down, having burned his flash as well. First Blood going over to play once a week.
As we do get themselves First Blood, they're going to equalize out a little bit, but here comes a gank coming through. Ulti's being held on the Malzahar. Isn't going to go for the Never Grasp. Mr. Cynical can't quite find the opening. Can he, Sin?
Oh, that's me, yeah. But it's not really working out for him. Going for the Skirmisher's Saber normally means that you want to be going aggressive into the enemy jungler's face, getting that extra true damage down, but instead it's not actually coming all into fruition here. And Graves isn't really known for his late game scaling. He's more known for being this strong mid-game burst champion once you start to get an advantage. And it really is an issue if he can't make that happen. And now he's looking up towards top lane, but he's spotted on a ward, so he's just going to have to back away. And he can't buy anything for the pressure that the bot lane of Grey Warwick Academy is exerting here.
What we're seeing is a very active jungler from the side of Play Once a Week, but Grey Warwick are just playing the objective game at the moment. They're looking for pressure everywhere they can. They've got themselves that Infernal Drake. They've got a big chunk of damage taken out of that bottom lane tower. And Hender maybe looking for his first gank on the Warwick for the moment. Isn't going to go for it yet because Pappy the Harpy is going to be safe underneath his tower. Good stun comes through, but it's going to get followed up by a knock-up. There's going to be the ulti as the chains connect. Chazmaster manages to answer straight the way of a kill as I'm the Spiffy is super, super low. Not going to commit with the gank.
And that's the strength of the Scion right there, being able to get that knock up and buy time for Chazmaster to be able to come down from the bubble, get the Chains of Corruption off, and they chunk out Spiffy as well off of that play. Really well done, and that's going to give them the kill down there on the 20 CS advantage. This is a big advantage through the bot side of Warwick that can be abused. If you look at Hanada maybe looking to take more control and get more dragons, we already see there's one. With those that Elder Dragon being that much stronger now, later in the game, it can buy you that much more of a late game win condition if you didn't already have one like they did.
It looks to me like Pappy is building towards that Blade of the Rune King. He has got those Ninja Tabby for these extended trades against Janny. And if we do have a look at Chazmaster, he's working towards that Rage Blade. He's going to need that before he really starts to do some serious damage. But already, in that last fight, he started to put the hurt in there. That pickaxe and that recurve bow definitely coming through for him as we've hit 10 minutes on the clock and gold lead is still very, very close between both of these teams. And it's all the pressure in the bot lane is my concern for Play Once a Week.
And it has to be a play perhaps being made by the Aatrox coming down on a TP play to set this up, but he's looking more at his top lane opponent right now with the massive damage he's able to put out onto Janny. You see, he's only really gone for the Ninja Tabi and then a little bit of attack speed on top of it, but he's still able to chunk out his opponent.
Yeah, does have a fair amount of chunk with that attack speed. Does him pretty well at the moment. He's also got himself a pretty big CS lead over Janny. Just to kind of start himself off, make himself feel a little bit more comfortable. But Hender needs to start making a play on someone on the map or maybe looking to get himself another objective. The warding is minimal for both of these teams. Feels like both top laners with those pink wards where they are should be pretty safe. Actually, Janny's even going to find out this pink ward here. So he's going to have full vision dominance now, meaning Hender could look for something if he wants to, knowing that there's no vision in these bushes. So
we talked a little bit about the mid lane in the pre-game, and I want to go back to it here because we've not really had much of a chance to talk about it. You can look at the Vladimir, he's going to be starting that Proto Belt, an item that hasn't been changed, but on the other side, the 1100 gold lost chapter for Aina means that it's a lot harder to get to that point in the lane where you are able to clear the waves effectively. You really need that 900 gold lost chapter to be able to push through push the wave effectively, not worry about your mana bar so much. But with it being that a little bit more expensive, it really hurts your laning phase. But in the bot side, Warwick coming in, being able to zone them off.
Good bubble on top of him to make sure he goes through. I'm the Spiffy has popped ultimate. He's been caught by the Chains of Corruption, followed up by the Smash. Is going to be able to avoid that out as Mr. Cynical's into the fray with Harpy. A two-man knockout comes down. He's looking to get the damage through as he's got that Massacre on. That's going to be one going down. The Scion falls. The ulti cannot do anything through the charge. And we see Mr. Cynical forced to use the ultimate, the collateral damage to peel away from the Scion passive. They managed to get one kill, but they lose a turret.
That's a clencher there. All the fight went wrong for Percival, and then it ends up being the ultimate misses. The Q, he holds on for it too long and can't get the knock up onto Vayne. And he dies off of the back of it, and dies for his sins. And it's going to mean that they do get a kill back, and this Death Ball composition's now looking at Vladimir.
Oh, Vladimir's already been forced to pull. Going to flash away from the bubble, but the Dark Flight connects. I'm the Spiffy looking for the damage. He will get a 4-man Hemoplague to heal him up, but that will not be enough as Enya picks up a kill. He somehow manages to answer back, and he trades 1 for 1 in the 4 versus 1.
And this does mean they can go towards the Mountain Dragon, even up that Dragon score, but the 1 for 1 crucially coming through, trying to minimize the amount of gold he's losing, ends up picking up the first part of the Leandries for himself as well. Another item that's been changed that shows you that he wants to be able to chunk through people and get on top of these targets, make them burn down, and it's going to be doing a lot for him. But the lane swap being executed here by Grey Warwick Academy because of that dragon means that they can get the big chunk onto the top lane tower, potentially get a second tower to 0.
I actually think this is done. He's got a fully stacked Rage Blade for Chazmaster. He's just going to keep auto-attacking away. There is no Never Grasp available quite yet to Enya on that Malzahar, so this will be the second turret going down, and just a fantastic rotation by Warwick here to get themselves a bigger lead and extend this gold lead to 2k now.
So without the tower there, the lane swap is the next target. That's what you've got to be doing. Going back to base and looking towards the top side, knowing that you've already broken up in the bottom side. But in the meantime, it was play once a week. Going in towards the dragon, playing towards mid lane first, and Vladimir buying so much time. It gave the time for Chazmaster and Percival to get back onto the map, then go towards the top side. And now, another objective they're getting for free here in the Rift Herald.
Really, really good pickup here. And just solid rotations so far from Warwick to start this out. Maybe looking for a player mid. They're actually just going to instantly summon out the Rift Herald. With a 5-member stack, they're going full ARAM here. They want to start dropping these turrets and really open the map up. Janny actually is getting caught out by Mr. Cynical, but his damage is a little underwhelming at the moment, and the 3rd turret will fall. All of the outer turrets are down, and now it's the tier 2s for Warwick to start putting their attention into.
And so a really clean set of rotations there. They only lost 2 kills during that, but still able to get a massive swing of gold at 3,000 up. And now they're in a really comfortable position, but somebody who isn't in a comfortable position is a Scion who has to ult away to safety. Again, out of position for him and not really playing the best thus far.
Yeah, about 2 minutes before that comes back up.
If he can get picked off consistently if he keeps acting that way.
And he's not like a full tank Scion, right? It's not like what we're used to seeing. He's actually fully upgraded his support item. He's going towards the Locket of the Iron Solari. Maybe a banner. I'd assume that's a Locket of the Iron Solari he wants to be picking up. But he's only got the 350 health on that Eye of the Aspect.
You've seen the Baron buff with Banner of Command, right?
I have seen that, yeah.
That's pretty sickening, and it would be great to see. I'm not sure really how much prevalence it's going to find in a more competitive environment. But in solo queue, definitely if you pick up Baron buff, if you're support, sell your items, get Banner of Command. You can take down 2 or 3 towers with one of those minions.
One of the things we do want to have a look at here, we'll play once a week, is actually the fact that they're down all of their turrets at the moment, but the gold is still very close. It's only 3k that's separating them. So if they can start getting their hands on these objectives, they will close that gap out nice and easy for them. And it looks like we might have a play coming through. Infinite Duress goes down. Darkflight goes a little bit wide, and the Massacre's already been thrown down. Chains of Corruption are on Pappy, and he's going to be forced to res from the Bloodwell. Mr. Cynical now has backup of Malzahar, who could go for the flash ulti. He's found a suppression. He didn't even need to use the flash. Mr. Cynical gets the first of the fight. Now Irisu going in with a Hemo Plague is going to try and land the damage out. They've traded 1 for 1, and he's still looking to make it go more. Mr. Cynical super, super low, but they're not going to chase up. A really, really messy fight in the top lane.
And they trade the top laner for the support, but kind of that chain of one person arriving after the other is they'll be happy to have taken that 1 for 1, knowing that they were a member down on the side of play once a week, and they're able to get this pressure bot lane in the meantime. So Vayne looking to try and chunk out this bottom lane tower and see if they can try and at least get some of that standing gold on the map back into their pockets so that Vayne can become more of a threat as the game goes on.
Well, it's on about 1/3 HP, but in the meantime, there was a big chunk taken out of that tier 2 in the top lane as well. So overall, the trade, I don't know if it was fully worth it for play once a week. They need to start getting this gold, but they can't start bleeding objectives like they are now. Charge and Unstoppable Onslaught both getting channeled out, and Janny's looking for an opening. Tidal Wave comes down to break up the fight, and we've already had a teleport coming through. Darkflight connects onto Janny. Zonya's is already popped, and I'm the Spiffy has got the ulti on. Damage is there, and I'm the Spiffy gets the first kill of the fight. They're now chasing for a couple more. Kled has already lost Scarl, and Vladimir is here to stop any more chase coming through. They managed to pick up 1 fight and 1 win for play once a week.
And a really whiffed engage there from 2 members is going to cost them a lot more than just the engage in the ultimates, as they lose the Warwick, and Graves is on this top lane tower as well, so they're looking to try and make a 2-tower swing. Although the defense coming out from here from the side of Grey Warwick Academy is going to enable a lot of that pressure to be mitigated, but it's still the Graves looking here. He's still pushing for a tier 2.
So he knows that 3 is still bot lane, and to be fair, play once a week do need to start backing at some point soon. They're sitting on lots of items, but not finished items, lots of components. There's a Zeal and a BF sword on the Vayne, currently sitting on 1,500 gold. So needs to start getting these items in the pockets nice and soon, because they were fighting into a fully stacked Rage Blade, Haunting Guys, and a Proto Belt there.
Yeah, there's still a huge advantage in this bot side, a 1,500 gold lead for Chazmaster. So it's really hard to play into where you know the Varus is, and it's just really have to worry about skirmishing nearby him, because it's currently the skirmishes they've lost, he's not been that involved in.
No, not been very involved at all, really, so far. Just... we hit the 20-minute mark. That gold lead is slowly shrinking. It's gone down to about 1,200 gold at the moment. I could be off. My maths are being really bad at the moment. I'm way too sleepy to be doing quick maths.
I think we need to see a more consistent engage here from Warwick, and I think we need to be seeing like a chain of corruption into the ultimates coming out from Kled and Sion, because you can hear both of them charge when they activate their ultimates. It's a really telegraphed engage, and it gave Vayne so much time to be able to get out of the way. And we need to see a bit better than that, but this is going to be a Cloud Dragon.
Nevergrass goes down, Chains of Corruption's there, but Mr. Cynical is able to pick up a kill. It feels like Irisu on this Vladimir has always been a little bit late to the party. Charge comes down, Tidal Wave will knock 2 up. Mr. Cynical's getting engaged on. Good knock up from Maple Wings as the Unstoppable Onslaught will come down. Slam and smash as Chaz manages to pick up a kill. Now chasing down for Maple Wings on that Nami. Bear Trap on a rope has connected, but it will pull him back in. I'm Spiffy. I don't know if he's going to be able to peel away, but Emi is also there. Needs to be careful as Irisu will just walk through his health bar. Hemo plays there, and Janny manages to get the kill. Now we've got them going in for a little bit more. Spiffy trying to outplay, trying to keep this going, but the damage is just huge on him. The exhaust has gone down. He is off his scar at the moment, but too low on that Vayne. Only got a static shiv really for damage. And they're going to concede the fight.
Able to remove Papi just before he got his passive up, being so much for them, and that could mean that they're going to be able to get this bot lane tier 2 after the winning the fight as well. It's going to put them back in another comfortable gold lead of 4,000. 4 towers to 1. And they can look to completely take over this bot side of the map now, because they've taken down these 2 towers. They can start pushing the waves deep and backing off. It's so much easier to get vision pressure into the enemy jungle and play around these dragons like they've effectively been doing all game.
Chaz Master managed to pick up his wit's end now, so that's going to help with the Vladimir, being able to shred some of that magic resist. His attack speed build is starting to get pretty scary if you're on the side of play once a week. And Grey Warwick, they might not have the faker of University Esports on this team, but they're still doing very, very well.
So a lot of pressure comes down to supports nowadays, and I think it's a lot harder to play these mage supports. Knowing that the jungler doesn't have the vision pressure like they used to, having the removed Tracker's Knife from the game, it's only the Skirmishers and the Chilling Smite available now. So it means that there's a lot more onus on the supports, once they've got that quest item, to put a lot of vision down on the map, make sure they can take control of areas of the map. And if you've got a mage support that can be removed from the game so quickly, then you lose all of your vision. And if the Nami gets removed, then that's a really good signal for Grey Warwick to go, okay, we can invade the jungle entirely. They've got no way to contest our vision, and we can set up for plays like Baron.
Yeah, Baron Nashor is on the cards. Holding around, that was not a place for Mr. Cynical to be. He's got the bear trap on the rope connected to him. Good Condemn will be able to peel him out of there. They bopped the charge for that and nothing else, but they did get Mr. Cynical's flash. Crucially, Enya on this Malzahar still sitting bot lane, currently is in vision, so they could maybe look for this Baron Nashor if they want. There is no vision at all for the side of Play Once a Week. Although there is one which Sion's currently sitting on top of, one ward.
Just one left. It's the only one that matters is spotting them out. And that's still waiting here in the brush though.
Chains of Corruption's gone down. Nice. That's going to be the vicious bite, and it looks like it's already going to be one. Tidal Wave comes down. 2 kills already for the side of Grey Warwick. They're looking to make this free. They're looking for the full 8. It's a double kill onto the Vladimir. Knockup won't quite connect, and everybody on the side of Grey Warwick are still alive, and they lose 3. Really, really solid fight. And actually, looks like we're not quite done here. The joust comes down. Janny's going to get pulled back, and they are chasing him in for the kill. Chazmaster picks up his 3rd kill on the Varus, and this will be Baron Nashor.
He gets feared by the Warwick, and that spells his doom there. Is gonna mean they go straight onto this Baron, completely uncontested, as Mr. Cynical, still only just having respawned, isn't going to be able to get there in time. It's going to take a while. It is only 23 minutes in. They're going to lose a lot of health for it, which does give time, though, now for here. for the side of Play Once a Week to get back onto the map, start pushing out the waves, and at least buy some time before these Baron minions are sieging onto their Nexus inhibitor towers, rather.
Well, the biggest wave was in the top side, and actually Arisu manages to get that on the Vladimir, so he's going to be able to tidy that wave out. Back is coming through. Black Cleaver finished up on Janny.
You see, they're just trying to hard
towards
push
the Titanic.
Mid and bot lane. They're trying to hard push this out to make sure that there's a lot more time to wait until Baron's really a threat.
Oh, charge comes through. Spiffy getting engaged on, manages to dodge out the bubble. The violent tendencies are really starting to chunk through, and on the Spiffy is kiting and fighting backwards, but Warwick is coming through. He has the infinite duress, isn't actually going to throw that down, and they manage to peel away from the engage.
It buys Vladimir time, though, on the top lane tower now, as he hasn't spaced from getting the Baron, I believe. Yeah, still has not gone back to the base. And just using the goal he already had to push this one in, get a tower. Now his team...
Hemo Plague! Oh, that is going to be the end of Emir on the Malzahar. They've lost their one person stopping the Vladimir, which means this tier 2 in the mid lane will fall. And everything, including the base, is starting to crumble for Play Once a Week.
And this is really going to fall apart now without the big engage of that ultimate. They lost.
Oh, good engage though. Tidal Wave comes through, followed up by the Dark Flight. RP will go down. However, they've traded 1-for-1 in the fight, as we're seeing Nami just getting chunked through from Chazmaster's auto attacks. Inhibitor is going to be laid bare and dropped. And now we can see Warwick turn their attention towards the top lane Inhibitor turret, and then follow that up with an Inhibitor. This Baron Nashor is doing wonders for Warwick.
And it's Kled getting remounted as well. There's so much for their sieging potential here. They've got 2 waves once hit onto the Nexus towers.
Well, they've got 13 seconds before this is a full 5v5 again. That's going to be extended as they pick up one more kill. Nevergrasp will not save your life this game. There's a double kill onto Vladimir. One more turret stands between the Nexus and the win. Nexus will fall down shortly, but Chaz just wants to get a couple of glory kills as Harpy is trying to find an opening, but Chaz with a double kill, maybe going to try and pick himself up a triple. Not going to do so, and Nexus falls at 25 minutes. Warwick take down Play Once a Week.
And they were just waiting to play around the Baron to start breaking open the base. And this is what we said about it's around that Baron that all the games will be decided in 26 minutes on the clock. Warwick is able to take the win over Play Once a Week. And you gotta look at how Chazmaster and Arisu played that one. It was really impressive from them, both in the laning phase and in that team fighting phase. With look at that CS advantage that Chazmaster had in the laning phase. One point he was up, I believe, 60 CS over the Vayne and was still able to take first tower. Dominant display from them.
Really, really solid showing from Warwick. Warwick obviously are one of the teams, one of the universities, shall we say, because they've got more than one team. One of the universities that really do show up every time at the NUEL. They represented the UK in the University Esport Masters in summer last year. So nice to see that actually the sister team this time really, really performing against Play Once a Week, who one of the teams who are currently sitting very high on top of that scoreboard. They might even be top. I think you're the one who knows that, though.
Unfortunately, the website was looking at...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the NUEL Week 3. We're here into Game 2, where Best Essex team will be taking on Prelude Gaming. Because apparently, the client is deciding it doesn't like me. There we go. Now it likes me. All good. Urgot's going to be taken off the board first of all, followed up by the Gnar. Pretty excited to get...
This is going to be a very top lane focused setup here, where we can see instantly the Urgot that Prelude's been spamming recently taken away. Rank 80 in Challenger at the minute, so playing really well. And you can kind of see the level of play that he's been at recently when you look at his opponents here, and it's around Plat to Gold. You look at his last opponents, and just the last solo queue game he played, and he was up against Upset and Vanda.
Well, very, very good player. He is obviously going to probably get a lot of focus thrown down on him. However, they will probably be looking for Prelude. He's probably just quite happy making normal bans. Volibear getting removed. Did get a couple of changes on this patch. Xayah getting taken off the board as well. And one more ban for the side of Prelude Gaming. What will it be?
Volibear taken away is an interesting one. Okay.
It did get changed. It got changed this patch.
Yeah, I know he's better. He's better, but I wouldn't say he's top tier. Not yet.
God no, he's not top tier.
Yeah,
but he's
you gotta wait for the Shirelias. That's when you can go full movement speed Volibear. You go the Yomus, the Shirelias. You go the Spellbinder, maximum movement speed. Just pop your Predator and run down the lane.
I think when Predator first came out, the first game of the day, when the whole new Mastery Sphinx came out, the first game I played had a Predator support Volibear, and he hard carried me. I have never been hard carried, that hard carried in my life. It was ridiculous. He actually ended the game on 30 kills, and I was just sitting back okay, cool, whatever, dude. Guy actually just smashed them. Gangplank is going to get picked up though, and that will be going against Prelude. So now he knows that that's what he's laning against. What do you think he's going to pick up?
So there's a lot of options here. I'd say the Camille has to be one of the first ones that comes to mind, where you can really punish an opposing Gangplank, lock him down, and make sure that you and your jungler together can just shut him out of the game entirely. So it is going to be likely a pick that can punish him. But it's a Gangplank though here, out into one of these really good challenger top laners. You go, okay, I'm going to pick a carry top laner, and I'm going to beat you 1v1. It's a really bold statement.
A very, very bold statement indeed. Jax will be the lock in the top lane for Prelude and C. Could have been that flex pick, but Sejuani gets locked in for Enclave Dust. So
I didn't even think there was a chance of it being Jax top, honestly. He's so good in the jungle right now that putting him in the top lane seems almost like a waste, but he's trusting that he can carry on this champion, pulling out the old Kerberos champion, if you remember the...
it's not Kale, calm down.
The NUEL Live, well, he played Jax every game in that and hard carried them, so... It's not quite Kale, but it's the next best thing.
It's almost Kerberos level there. Zach's going to get picked up. Triforce on everything, doesn't matter what. Zach going to get picked up for the side of Best Essex team, and it looks like they're actually going to be going for the Orianna in the mid lane here. Prelude Gaming looking to get their last pick as we move in. Okay,
so with the Orianna, that's a high pressure mid laner in terms of team fights, and you've got the Zac on top of it, able to go hard into the back lane. Being able to get that shockwave off that much more consistently is going to be a great setup. And with the kidnap that Zac can do, where you can land your E from a long range, and during the knock-up timer charge up your ultimate, so they have no time unless they QSS flash to be able to get away. So it sets up Orianna that much more consistently and efficiently.
Dongorillo's going to get his hands on the Talia in the mid lane. Lots of roaming potential we could see coming through from him. Maybe he wants to camp Prelude in C, or maybe he just wants to put lots of potential on bot lane, and Nova Prelude in C should be able to handle himself whole-handedly on this Jax. Tahm Kench getting removed, so denying some of that anti-pick potential which he offers. Kind of peel people out who gets Sejuani ulted down. Lulu coming through for the side of Best Essex team as their ban. Lots and lots of supports getting banned out now.
It's a really hard focus onto support bans, and trying to remove the Tahm Kench for any sort of safety from the opposing team. You can see that Southampton, they want to push through. They want to be able to get these engages more efficiently, and denying the shutdown of a Sejuani ultimate from a Tahm Kench is very crucial to that.
Turret getting removed as well. Lots of anti-team fight, lots of anti-pick tools getting removed by the side of Prelude Gaming. So that really, really tells me that they want to go for action in this game. They want team fights, and they don't want anything stopping them from going forward, putting the foot to the pedal to the metal.
It's a support pool has been pinched quite a lot here, and now Tenkai can actually pinch it a little bit further by getting another takeaway and holding the last pick for ADC, knowing that there's still pretty much every ADC you could want other than the Xayah available.
I'm going to pick up the Fresh. So it's going to be really, really about these picks for the side of Prelude Gaming, and some form of denial needs to come through for Best Essex team. See what they're going to lock in as their ADC and support combination here. A couple of hovers, but nothing definite yet. I think the Varus would actually be the best pick for them support-wise. I'm not 100% certain on what I think would be best for them to be picking up.
But looking on the other side, I think Gould could be happy to pick up the Caitlyn here, and then be able to have a good aggressive laning phase with a Thresh and be able to dominate the Varus, push him in, force him into a rough situation. And knowing that Prelude's going to be having some pressure on the top side due to Gangplank's weaker early laning phase, and the fact that he should be considered to win the matchup as a better top laner. It's definitely an opportunity to pick up something scaling but has a strong early game.
Cogmore's available if they want scaling. Also, the Tristana is available as well. Quite a few options for them. They could go for the poke and lock in that Ezreal. Would be very good into the Shen. Obviously, be able to handle the Varus as well, because obviously keeping out of range with the Q is going to be the pickup. And this is going to be the final team compositions. Both of these teams running massive team fight potential here. It's going to be an explosive game when we hit mid-game.
I wanted really to see that Caitlyn. I think it would have been a much better pick here, but the Ezreal, even after all the nerfs, still finding a lot of priority due to the high amount of gold he can get from that, the pressure from the Kleptomancy, and being able to get that 5 gold per hit, and being able to get all the extra sacks of gold, all the extra consumables you can sell, has been lowered significantly, but still enough to get you to the late game that much quicker. So going for another scaling pick, but one that has a lot more consistency in being able to get to that point.
Well, he will actually be able to maybe build the Iceborne Gauntlet, which is something we've seen a resurgence in on Ezreal since the changes. Gives him a little bit more kiteability, gives him a little bit more fightability as well. And with the fact you've got the Jackson Sejuani, it's not like his damage will be completely lackluster. Jax's and Talia are going to have really solid damage in the games as well, in the fights as well. So he doesn't need to be that hyper carry for the team. It's going to be about the poke and then the all-in and just kind of peeling himself around the fight, avoiding the Orianna shockwave, trying to dodge out Abel Corpse on this Zac and make sure he doesn't get caught by any picks, any stretching strikes or let's bounce, because that would really be his undoing.
So that's the benefit here of picking Ezreal. You've got a lot more safety. You've got the ability to go for the you got the ability to go for a more aggressive positioning and E away from a Zac coming in towards you. So it's a situation in which it's fine to pick Ezreal, but you've got to think about the damage that's coming out from this team. Without a crit-based ADC like a Tristana or a Caitlyn, you're left with it being Talia and some minor damage from Ezreal until you hit the late game. Jax has to really pop off to be a big damage source for his team and enable them to catch up, because you look at the other side, you've got the Varus who's going to be doing the AoE damage with the Runans on top of the Gwynsues. You've got Gangplank and Orianna as well. They are out damaged, so they need to be able to scale and not fall apart in the early game.
Orianna running the cleanse as well in this matchup. Obviously very scared of the Counter-Strike, very scared of the Glacial Prison. Wants to be able to peel away from these kind of picks and hard CC. So playing with a lot of respect here. If we do look at everything else, it's pretty standard summoner spells coming through. 10k on that Fresh. It has actually got himself the Ignite. So looking for the kill pressure in lane. Maybe we'll see some early attention from jungle coming down there in that bot lane.
It's definitely a lane in which you can make plays, but the Shen, we know his aftershock early game pressure can be immense, and having that Shen as well into Prelude in the top lane is going to deny a lot of playmaking potential, because he can go up, save the Jax, save Gangplank from the Jax, and by giving him that shield, being able to taunt up the Jax and buy some time for him to be able to put down damage of his own. It means that it's going to be a lot harder for Prelude to stomp this top lane.
Yeah, it's going to be really, I feel the attention's going to be really on Prelude on this Jax here. He's picked himself a carry. His late game kind of team fighting it's not awful, but it's not like anything that's going to hyper carry a team fight. He's going to have to be picking one target up at a time. I'll be interested to see what kind of build he goes for, whether he goes for that Titanic Hydra, the kind of bruisery build, if he goes into the Triforce and just Blade the Ruined King and just goes full split push, full lane priority, and just ignore the rest of his team, doing his best Kerberos impression in that sense.
It's definitely what he's going to be looking to do, trying to break open this game. But at the same time, we've got to think about, if you take away all the name tags, you take away everything else, you got to look at the compositions and think, which composition's stronger? And I have to say that it looks like what has been picked up here by Best Essex team is superior. You can look at the Gangplank, Orianna, Varus, as a lot of late game damage and a lot of playmaking potential around that mid game, with the Gangplank able to assist with his ultimate and making those plays. And you've got the Shen and the Zac on top of it to be able to set up these plays and be this big tanky lane. It's all the more difficult, really, for the side of Prelude to pop off and really take over the game. And it's hard to talk about Prelude without talking about Prelude and see it's literally in the name. But he has to pop off. He has to do something big here in these early levels.
Yeah, Prelude definitely has to be the hard carry for his team. The rest of them are probably going to want to play at a distance, keep himself at arm's length away from the enemy team. I expect to see maybe as we move later into the game, Prelude want to set themselves up into a 1-3-1 scenario where you have Prelude and Talia sitting in separate lanes, and then you just have the Sejuani and the Ezreal sitting together in another lane. That would make the most sense to me here. Means they have the ability
going grasp rather than kleptomancy. Okay.
He's he actually has gone into the sustain build there.
That's an interesting one. It means he's not really going to be able to get to that late game damage anywhere near as easily as he did with kleptomancy, where you used to be able to say go down 25 CS in a lane and still be up 400 gold. But it's a real surprise to me that he's not going to be opting in for that kleptomancy, especially because you can get sustainables and you can have an easier laning phase and have a more sustainable path regardless of the resolve path. Instead, he's going to be trying to stack up that health every time you get an auto, every time you land a Q onto an enemy, you get a bit of health back. He's not even gone for the relic shield start to be able to get the extra gold generation from the bandit passive. He's really gone for a defensive setup. He is afraid, even though he's gone for a carry pick.
Well, looking forward, looks like Tenkai actually could go for the flash hook, does connect it.
But he flashes into a corner.
Flash. There's a seismic shove forcing him back. He has no flash, remember. The rest of the team looking to chase down Prelude with a stun. And First Blood gets picked up by Gold.
Unfortunately for him, he flashed in the wrong direction, flashes himself into a corner and has to walk all the way out, giving the Talia the time to get the seismic shove. And that's going to be the First Blood going over to the Ezreal, who instantly picks up a cull to be able to ensure his damage is going to be strong as early as possible. But really nice play there from the side of Southampton to be able to make that play and ensure that they get an advantage in these early phases. And with the assists going on to 3 members as well, that's gold that can't be scoffed at.
Only thing about this is now Don Guerrero, on the Talia has started with seismic shove. Doesn't have the ability to shove those waves in early, so he's going to have to play a little bit safer. No threaded volleys to push out. Prelude started with Counter-Strike, so he doesn't have like Elite Strike, doesn't have any kind of safety. He will just use that Counter-Strike early to get himself a bit of a trade, but it's an orange start for Senor on the Gangplank as well, so it's not like he's particularly having the best. And that's seismic shove, actually. Gets himself a tower shot early onto Orianna. Pretty solid start.
Well, with Prelude, he's in a fine situation because you generally want to start with the Counter-Strike in a lot of melee matchups anyway. And you can, of course, block the Gangplank Q with it. But in the mid lane, it's a really rough situation for Don Guerrero where you haven't got the you haven't got the threaded volley available to you. It's just the seismic shove. So solo, Senor getting poked out really hard solo, but is able to get a chunk back onto Prelude and C as well in that top lane.
When you see the Grasp and Dying come through for him there, he gets a big old heal up with that Q. The parlay able to heal him up with these as he kind of stacks it up on the minions, then just Qs Prelude and C for a little bit more health. Prelude's actually running that pressy attack. Nothing too unexpected there. Means he will get himself a fair amount of damage as we move later in. And already, Enclave Dusk going for an invade, spotting out Abel Corpse on the Zac. Actually does have the help of Orianna coming up as well, so looks like there's going to be a gank as Dongorillo's there. Hook goes a little bit wide, no Flay to speak of, but another seismic shell followed up by the Ignite. Q goes a little bit wide from Gould, and Adaz will be able to walk away with his life.
And they do get a lot of summoners out for only the Ignite coming out from Tenkai there. Well played. And it's going to keep this pressure up in the bot side. We already know that, Gould is going to be putting out a lot of damage.
He's in a minion wave as well, so Matto actually could go down. One more Q.
Oh.
Not going to find it.
And it gets another flash there. So Matto loses his flash as well. Still no summoners burned from Gould.
Shove, forcing him back towards Enclave Dust. Black YOLO is going to be forced to flash away. The Winter's Wrath only clips him with the first tick, so he's not going to be able to get that stun ready up and procced.
Yeah,
lots of action already early.
Without the fleet footwork available from Enclave Dusk, it is going to be a little bit less easy to get that stun off. Generally, you see a Sejuani go for fleet footwork as the it's a keystone of choice, get that little bit extra sustain in the jungle, but you get the attack speed to be able to proc your permafrost that much quicker.
If we do have a look at at the scoreboard on the edge where the wards are currently sitting, you'll see little numbers. There, your vision score. I want to see the vision score for both of these teams go skyrocketing high, because these junglers both have a lot of early game potential. And to be honest, they have a lot of potential throughout all of the game, but early they're going to be able to make these plays we're seeing already. Summoner Spells being burnt, and without the vision of the junglers, they're going to struggle to deal with the pressure that can get asserted. Already junglers are looking for each other. Elastic Slingshot was thrown down by Abel Courts, but I don't think it connected, and Enclave's just going to be able to Arctic Assault away.
And that's going to be just an easy back off there. But the thing is, we talked about the scaling of the Ezreal here. And we know because he's got this cull, he's got this early game pressure, we know he's going to be able to get this spike so much easier. And a lot of the damage that we were worried might not come is a lot more assured now. So it's a lot of a more rough situation for Essex to be able to hold on to any kind of advantage on the map, because currently they don't really have one other than Black YOLO, who's not actually performing all that well in terms of the lead he's managed to get for himself, because he does have his flash still down and still is a target for the Sejuani.
Prelude looking forward. There will be a removed Scurvy available for Senor, so he's just going to be able to heal up. And this time, jungle attention coming through. Arctic Assault from Enclave Dust. That's what we're looking for. Winter's Wrath goes down. The stun's going to connect. He doesn't have Orange this time, and Prelude will be looking to pick up his first gain. That's 2 for Prelude Gaming.
And great patience there from the side of Enclave Dusk, waiting out the trade from Prelude so he could get the oranges, knowing that then the permafrost was going to be so free, and that's going to be the second death for Gangplank.
Well, if you did have a little look, actually, I'm going to hold that fork because the Flay's coming down onto Matto. He's taking some serious damage, even within that Spirit's Refuge. Great taunt from Adaz, though, as Gould actually could be looking to go down here. Shield's going to come through, and now the minion wave's on. A Flay will peel cool away.
But all these potions here for Gould is going to keep him so much more safe.
Prelude is just everywhere. Gangplank's going to throw it down the cannon barrage, and Prelude's forced to flash, but Don Gorillo is also here to back him up. Barrels are there, looking for the pop. Here comes a really good prediction, but Abel Corpse is super low. Senor manages to take out Enclave and Prelude, getting the counter-strike down, but Black YOLO manages to pick him up, and it's a 2-for-none in favor of the best Essex team.
He may have queued a 2-health barrel, but he still managed to pick up a kill there, as Senor does manage to get a bit of respite for his team, and the invade is a little bit too aggressive. They get collapsed on, and probably he just didn't have the health to be able to hold on to that.
Gold is neck and neck at 7 minutes. Don Gorillo's had some pretty solid roams, but Black YOLO has been able to amount himself a pretty impressive CS lead, and was able to respond in that previous gank attempt in the jungle and get himself a kill. So I do have a quick look at the gold at the moment. Sitting on about 500 gold over his counterpart on this Orianna.
See, I'm just looking at this Ezreal right now, and he's picked up 3 bags of gold on his last 3 Qs from landing the Kleptomancy. And he's got that cull as well. There is so much gold sitting in his pocket. He's already over 1,000 above Matto effectively with these extra bonuses yet to come.
I'd be so tempted to press that button. Just
I always
I'm really
do.
bad for it.
I've never sold the bag. I always press the
No,
button.
yeah, I always open the bag up.
I'm a Hearthstone player. I love RNG.
Exactly, and normally it pays off quite well. Like I normally get like 100 gold in there every now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Get 80, 100. It's rare that you get less than you'd want, and it's something that people should do more often. It's more fun that way. You can high roll it and then end up getting like 300 more gold than you would have otherwise.
Daz is already forced to use the taunt to dash to safety. Black Yellow actually is running a little bit low on health, but Dongorillo on this Talia is having some mana problems at the moment.
You know, it's just clicked to me. Thresh has gone for Relic Shield here instead of Coin, and in this current... Oh, wait, in the mid lane,
Oh,
though.
yeah, you might have to hold that fort. Sombrero comes down, and Dongorillo's going to get flashed away as he's trying to dodge out, but Enclave Dust is going to be able to return the kill up as Abel Corpse now stacking up. Ulti connects down. He doesn't have passive, remember, that got burnt in the last fight. I say that,
maybe
and he
not.
goes into self-division. I may have lied. Enclave Dust will be able to smite him and fight him for the win. He's going to get back, but Enclave Dust, one more auto attack, is able to pick up the kill. 2 for none, and Enclave gets himself a double.
And giving the 2 assists to Dongorillo, being able to get him back into the game. You can see so much of his gold deficit, that's 400, has come from starting Seismic shoved, and he's been shoved in, ironically, because of him doing so. But in the midst of all of this, there's going to be a lot more pressure coming out for Prelude in top lane. He's still able to keep pushing this wave in, holding so much pressure onto the gangplank, and it's going to be another wave he loses.
If we do have a look at the gold as we approach 10 minutes, it's 1,200 gold in favor of Prelude at the moment. Big chunk of that is coming from both the top lane and the bot lane. Gould has a really big lead over his counterpart, and with those Kleptomancy stacks, he has earned himself an extra 1,000 gold over Matto on this Varus. He's also got
really
himself that kill as well.
So it's definitely helping when you get the kill, but it's already, 1,100 above his counterpart. Still has that cull, which is going to be able to proc and sell very shortly. With the Manamune already completed stacking up, should maybe be around 5 to 8 minutes before that one's fully stacked. Ezreal is one of the quickest stackers of that Manamune.
Super click as Abel Corpse actually getting engaged on by Enclave Dust. He's doing a lot of damage. Dongorillo comes in with the Weaver's Wall to debar him and push him back. Good seismic shove comes down. A threaded volley will be enough, but a great shockwave lands onto 2. Let's Bounce comes down as Black Yolo now needs to kite his way out. Dongorillo is going to be able to pick up the fall and get himself a kill. Now, great hook. Actually not going to commit because it is under tower. The rest of the team still chasing down for Orianna. Ulti gets flashed away. Threaded volleys are there, and Dongorillo is super low.
Yeah, well played by Tenkai. Has to go rather aggressive, but is able to stop the Spirit's Refuge from being available to stop the death of Abel Corpse. He ensures that kill by removing the Stand United from Adaz.
Adaz does not have that Stand United anymore. Matto taking a lot of damage here. These hooks are getting very close to the bottoms of Best Essex team. So we're seeing Prelude starting to really run away with his lane as he's now got that Tiamat, now got that Sheen, he's able to shove and trade.
Yeah,
pretty solidly into the game.
We can assume this is going to be the Triforce Titanic build, that more bruiser-oriented 1v2, 1v3 Jax, who's just going to be able to survive so long in these fights with that Grandmaster's might.
Well, this turret in the bot lane is already sitting very low. Against Prelude's bot lane, they've got themselves a really big advantage there. Top lane turret's still sitting pretty comfortable, and mid the same. So it's all about this bot lane at the moment.
So what I was talking about earlier was Tenkai having picked up this Relic Shield start. And it's something I can't really be all too fond of, because since the nerfs, Relic Shield only gives half healing if you're a ranged champion. Thresh is a ranged champion. He can build Runan's Hurricane, therefore that counts.
Taunt comes down. That's Tenkai under tower. Cannon Barrage to follow up. Chains of Corruption force him to use the Zhonya's already. Tenkai still alive in the fight as Adaz is chasing him down. Senor actually manages to pick it up, but the Ignite's down. Adaz could fall here. He does go down, and Dongorillo now caught between a rock and a hard place. He's still somehow gets the damage out, but allows them to chase up for the kill as Matto, with these autos, is really starting to chunk out, and Cooled gets picked up by the elastic slingshot. Able Corpse able to turn that around, and that's a pretty good fight for Essex.
But with the Gangplank having to come down to the bot side, this is going to give Prelude a massive chunk onto this top lane tower, and maybe without the teleport being available for the Gangplank, he could pick this up before he comes back.
He has no cannon barrage either. He used that in the fight, managed to get himself a kill, but
this could be the first tower gold, though. Yeah, this could be really big. That's going to be a big chunk of gold into his pocket. We said about the scaling of the Jacks and how necessary this is, so they take a small loss in terms of a fight where they only go down 100 gold afterwards, and yet they pick up 1,000 gold from getting the first tower. And that all goes directly into Prelude's pocket.
Yeah, Prelude's going to be very happy with that. Back in 1,700 gold, so that'll be a Phage for him on this back, or maybe some boots if he wants to. Probably needs to get some boots, actually. It'll probably be the Ninja Tabby.
I mean, you can get Phage and boots, or you can, brown boots at least.
Yeah. But we're about to find out. He's pressing the B button, so all to tell. Place your bets. What is Prelude going to buy on this base?
It's Phage
and it's tier 1.
and a dagger.
Oh, no, dagger. Okay. Doesn't want any movement speed.
No movement speed needed when you can just dash on top of a Gangplank permanently. But Gangplank does pick up the Triforce on his back, so he's going to have a lot more pressure in this lane as well.
He is going to have a lot more pressure, but speaking of pressure, Cooled is getting a couple of free auto attacks onto this turret. Has got that Sheen finished up, and the Manamune is stacking away. And it's just poking constantly onto a Daz here. Really, really making his life hard, as we've seen a seismic shove come down from Dongorillo, but he does do a lot of health. Here comes Enclave, though. He's looking for the ulti. Shockwave is zoned out, and Enclave picks up his 4th kill on the Sejuani.
That's a really nice stopwatch to be able to ensure he is not a threat whatsoever, and that's to give them a little bit of chunk onto the mid lane tower. And they draw the pressure of both Gangplank and the Zac away from anywhere else on the map, so it's going to be... But the bot lane is that much more safe to push in and try and pressure out here, because they know where the opposing jungler is.
Taunt goes a little bit wide from a Daz. He's going to take a hook. Maybe going to take that flay. Yes, he is. Ultimate comes through as the 2-shot barrage clips a Daz. He is very, very low. And this now means that Matto is going to have to solo lane, but Dongorillo maybe looking to get himself an ulti down.
He preempts this, though. He's able to zone off the Zac and be able to ensure a little bit more poke onto the tower again. And that, even though they bait out the Cannon Barrage, they baited out so much there.
Cannon Barrage is there. Then you're
easily
in lane as well, though, which now means Prelude's going to be able to push up and take down his turret. Ocean Drake's going to get picked up from the side of Prelude Gaming as well. Really, really solid game from the Portsmouth team. It's a hook. Ooh, goes a little wide.
See, they're either committing too much or not enough there, and they send 2 members mid, which gives them the pressure to push into and take that chunk out of that Shen, meaning there's 1 less member, and yet they don't commit the bodies to the bot lane to stop the tower going down. They commit the ultimate, they commit Zac heading towards the bot lane, and they lose so much for it, including a huge chunk on this top lane tier 2.
What a flay coming through from Tenka. He will get the stretching strikes on him, but he managed to put enough distance between him and Able Corpse that it wasn't too impactful. And this Luden's start on Orianna, now that Luden's has been changed and it's a really good starting item, it's actually filthy how much damage we're seeing Black Yellow put out on this Orianna. He is chunking Dongorillo every time he gets near him, able to command attack range him.
I actually love this Luden's change, because the way Luden's is, it's an item for a burst mage. It's an item where you want to be getting a combo down, so you get the charges every time you use a spell. And it stacks up, so when you get 20% CDR and mana from it, making it a starting item. For burst mages, this is the absolute perfect setup. And for anybody who's a chase mage, they can go for the GLP for a similar burst of damage.
GLP did get changed. Doesn't build out the catalyst anymore. I did forget about that.
Yeah, it's another one with a lost chapter, 20% CDR. The only thing is the active's a lot less weak. It doesn't go through minions anymore, so... It's a slightly thinner, slightly wider cone, and it means that you can't just walk up to somebody and burst them by using all of them on one person.
Well, Rift Order is actually getting started up from Prelude Gaming right now. 17 minutes on the clock. They're going to be able to take this down. This is going to be able to apply them more pressure. Prelude C in that top lane managed to get the turret down to 900 health, so it's sitting very, very low. Just under a third HP. Prelude maybe looking for the outplay. Matto hasn't spotted him out. He is Stepping forward,
This
here
is
comes
pretty
Prelude.
free.
Now he's got the damage down. The taunt's there. The counter-strike to follow up to boot. And Matto's trying to kite his way through, but Prelude has still got flash, has still got leap strike. He's gone forward with the leap strike onto a Daz, who's now, he's gone 1v2 and he's chasing down. The rest of the team are summering Rift Herald in the mid lane, and they're going to be able to take a tier 1 here. Cannon Barrage is getting thrown down, and a great flay to deny Able Corpse from stepping forward. The box is also there. And so much pressure coming through from the Prelude lineup. Just one more auto attack will drop that turret as well.
Yeah, this is really impressive right now in terms of the fact that Prelude, holding 2 members pressure in that bot lane, is able to buy so much for the mid lane.
Elastic slingshots coming down. Good arcane shift, but a 2-man shockwave comes through from Black YOLO. He does get hooked up. The flay goes down, but it only lands onto 1 as the threaded volley is starting to chunk through them. Adaz now standing on the front line. Needs to be careful of these barrels as the rest of the team are chasing. A hook comes down and it connects. Enclave gets his 5th kill. The ledge bounce pulls 2 back, but the turret will fall. And it's a fantastic trade coming through for Prelude Gaming. They're not done as Prelude in C for his namesake, for his team. Manages to get 1 last member and 4 drop for Essex.
And such a clean fight, is able to get the engage. And Zach, he goes in, drags them under the tower, but the tower's only 1 hit from dead. It's not a threat to them. Now they can go from lane to lane, and with only a minute until Baron spawns, they're in a great position to completely take over the map and the game.
Really, really solid place indeed. Tower is going to be going under the pressure. Tier 2 is going to go down. That's only 1 tier 2 left for the side of Essex. And it's already sitting on 900 health from Prelude's earlier shove. Baron Nashor spawns in 32 seconds, and it's looking pretty grim for Best Essex team. They must be feeling pretty bad right now.
Yeah, it's just them getting slowly choked out of the game. And you can say Black YOLO, he was a place of pressure for his team, but when the rest of his members are falling down so hard, it's really hard for him to put down the damage necessary. You got to look a little bit at this, like, this grasp gangplank, and he's managed to get the Triforce. He's building towards the Sterix, but he's down 1.8k gold. And normally, if you see a gangplank lose by 20 CS, even with a scoreline like 2-2-1, he's able to do so much more, because he's got that Kleptomancy, because he's got the extra gold, and he's using the Silver Serpents to get even more gold on top of that. But it's put him now in a situation where he's got no ability to do damage. He's only got 1 completed item, and he's not going to have the survivability to be able to put down any more damage than that come the later fights.
We said that we thought that maybe it was going to be Prelude and C who was the kind of star carrier for the team, but Enclave Dusk has been so proactive on the map on this Sejuani. He has made the plays. Yes, he's 6-1 and 3, and it looks like he's kind of maybe taken all the kills, but he has been super, super mobile. He's been everywhere for his team, and he's got every one of his lanes ahead.
Now look at this jungle, though. It's been littered with wards. They're going to be able to spot out anybody coming in and set up a pick with this Thresh or the Sejuani onto someone like Able Corpse or Matto, and that's going to be what they need to be able to take Baron.
Able Corpse getting engaged onto, but Cooled able to put the damage down with the Iceborne Gauntlet. The threaded volley's coming through from Don Gorillo on the other side of the map as the True Shot Barrage skims him. Enclave manages to find himself a beautiful ulti, picks himself up a kill. That's another 3 members dead for Essex, and this time all 5 members stack up on Baron Nashor, and they're going to be able to drop this extremely fast.
Yeah, so really nice play though. As we said, they had so much vision pressure in that jungle, so they're just waiting for the side of Essex to walk in. The moment they appear, able to burst them to pieces, and that's going to be a nice couple kills going over to the side of Prelude, and them able to now utilize the Baron to be able to set the siege up, utilize the huge gold advantage they've got to split up the lanes and have the 1-3-1 working and be able to maximize the pressure you get from this Baron. It doesn't look like this these inhibitor towers are long for this world. It's only a matter of time before there's one big engage to end the game.
And just like you said, before the team fight broke out at Baron Nashor, it's all about the wards that have been littered down. And Tenkai, if you have a look at his vision score versus Adaz's vision score, it's 38-25. That means he's placed and cleared 38 wards, basically, combined. Where Adaz is down in the vision. He's just not putting that down, as Prelude actually looking for a bit of damage, is obviously in that Triforce Titanic build. He does have a pretty serious amount of damage he's able to put down. Enough Ocean Drake getting started up by Prelude from Southampton, and it's going to be double Oceans. Lots of regen, and they're going to probably want to break into this 1-3-1 fairly soon.
And they've got the Talia mid, they've got the Jax top, they've set it up effectively in getting the Dragon as well. So now they're just looking to set up the wards, make sure they're not putting themselves in an uncomfortable situation where you're going to have a Zac hop over a wall onto 3 people. Other than that, it's just a fairly simple setup. Nice.
Cool's going in with the damage. He's actually going to be able to dodge and find his way out. True Shot Barrage picks the first kill up as Abel Corpse is there. The Weaver's Wall coming on Dongorillo is trying to take a fight as Prelude is finding the damage. Seismic Shove comes through, and it's a double kill onto Dongorillo on the Talia. That is going to be another 3 members dead for Essex. That is going to be an inhibitor bot lane falling down to the pressure that Southampton have been able to put down. It's been such a masterclass in macro, and it's been such a masterclass in just smashing your opponents.
You can see what happened there. It was Zac trying to get away, ends up dragging Prelude directly on top of Matto, and that's going to be pretty much the game said and done there.
Big shockwave comes through, but it looks like for now, Black Yellow will be able to dodge his way out, though Prelude really wants to chase him for the kill. Rest of the team a little bit more focused about actually ending the game at the moment. One more Nexus Tower is remaining, and actually, looks like for now they're just going to peel away, wait for the last of the minions to start to work their way in here. Big wave as Prelude still trying to kill out Black YOLO. Abel Corpse is going to be forced into Cell Division as True Shot Barrage chunks Matty-Ho down to about half health. Good taunt from a Daz, but there is no damage to follow him up as Don Gorillo is able to pick himself up his 4th kill, chasing for a little bit more. The minions are here, and the slows come down from Cooled. Matto will be falling down. Glacial Prison comes down and picks him up. Double kill on to the Sejuani. It's 9-1 on the scoreboard as Prelude is just playing super aggressive. And this will be the last turret to fall. This will be the Nexus left alone and able to go down. And 24 minutes on the clock. Southampton looking to get a couple more glory kills before they close this out. It's the ace as the Nexus falls. GG.
9-1 and 8 on the Sejuani. Such a big performer for the team. Able to be everywhere on the map he needed to be. And you got to give the MVP to Enclave Dusk after this one. Such a large amount of pressure he was able to apply. It's going to be the game going over to Prelude as they pick up their 2nd game of the day. And now we look towards the 3rd. We're going to be watching Best Mid. And
whoever they're playing.
Yeah, whoever they're going to be playing against.
Best Mid, whoever they're playing.
Yeah,
it was a very good game. It was a very good game from Enclave, especially Enclave Dusk on the Sejuani. We will have a little look at the damage stats just to be certain. How much damage came
from the Ezreal, yep.
That's filthy. I mean, Sejuani did more damage than Varus in that game, so
no.
That'll give you a little breakdown of actually how disgusting.
Oh no.
But with that, Prelude did manage to take down Best Essex team. We're going to cut to a quick break before we come back with our 3rd and final game, Best UK Mid versus whoever they get placed against. We'll see you shortly. Don't go anywhere.
hill you can't see over, all the gravel standing at your feet. Miss the way you see me when you're sober, wish you saw the middle where we meet. 'Cause we don't need words to say what we say. And I hope that you'll be okay one day. I need to know you're here. I'll give it all I got as long as you are here. The fight will never stop. Show me where it hurts, I wanna see it. You look me in the eyes, I'm not afraid. Trust me when I say you can defeat it. Don't let all these feelings go to waste. 'Cause we don't need words to say what we say. And I hope that you'll be okay one day. I need to know you're here. I'll give it all I got as long as you are here. The fight will never stop. I'm your messiah. I'm your messiah.
I never thought this could happen. It's turning to more than attraction. Around you I see what we could be, living in the love contraption. Something inside of me changed. Don't know which road I should take. So many to choose. One thing is true, they all lead back to you. And now I see the light. Why can't I get it right? The message is clear, the signs are all here. I still don't know how to choose. So take my hand, I'll understand it all leads back to you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the NUEL Week 3. We beat the timer once again, Game 3. It's almost tradition with me and you, Sin. We always seem to beat the timer on the last game. It's going to be Sheffield taking on Best Mid UK. Very excited to get into this one as we've had a Katarina ban and a Nidalee ban to start it out.
It's going to be Beely and Trillip who I'm looking at in this game. And Trillip, known for being a jungler around the UK scene for a while, kind of been on some of the lower tier teams, but still been around and turns up in the qualifiers quite often on a couple of rosters. And Beely, one of these mids who shows up a fair amount as well, but...
Former mid for Enclave?
Yeah, former mid for Enclave, and we saw Enclave Dusk in the previous game pop off, so...
Nice and confusing.
I mean, it's a good day for Enclave.
Super. I was also a good day for Prelude, you know, the team and the player. Just to really throw a spanner in our tired Sunday heads. So we have a Tristana and a Rise ban coming through. You're not going to see that Rise with the Spellbinder, unfortunately, today, Sin.
I'm looking forward to it, though. It's going to be big. Quote me on that. But the Tristana here, it's a pick that's been complained about quite a lot. She's so good at all phases in the game in terms of early game. She has the explosive charge to be able to push waves in effectively and have that level 1 in the late game, being this big crit-based carry. But you can see the ban's not really focused towards any particular role at the minute. Just seeing a couple of jungle bans away, and finally that Camille one, which is obviously a mixed between jungle and top as a ban. But really, that kind of tells you that maybe we're looking for a Gangplank coming through, as Camille, one of the primary top lane picks into Gangplank to be able to punish him.
It's going to be the Varus pickup to start it out. Grimer is saying into Twitch chat that the team name's not correct. There is a reason I put you as Sheffield and not your actual team name, Grimer. So sorry about that, buddy, but I don't want to get in trouble. Speaking of getting in trouble, Jarvan able to put a lot of punish onto Varus' very low mobility ADC. So like that starting pickup for the side of Sheffield. Let's see what they're going to round out as well. What's their next pick?
So there's still a lot left on the table, and it's very hard to really pick from, but they decided to end up picking up the support. Don't really want to give too much away at this early stage, and I want to look at this Jarvan quickly. It's a pick that's lost a lot of priority recently, but is still able to have these big AoE teamfight setups where you can lock people in that Cataclysm, so it's easier to land a Shockwave, it's easier to land an Ornn ultimate, and they're still so strong, even though Ornn has been nerfed and his laning phase is significantly weaker because of the changes to the Brittle, where it only lasts 3 seconds off of the W. It's still a pick that we could look at to pair with this Jarvan.
Alistair Sejuani getting picked up for the side of Best Mid UK. Really looking for that team fight all in. See what the final pick will be for Sheffield. Are they going to pick up a top laner? Are they going to pick up themselves an ADC? I think an ADC is probably the best bet for them now. Otherwise, they will just get target banned out. And they're going to get the Caitlyn.
Yeah, we talked about Caitlyn a bit in the previous game. It's really strong into that stopwatch meta where you can put traps under people while they're in the stopwatch form, while they're golden. And then the moment they come out, you get a huge headshot burst of damage to them. It just is a fairly strong ADC at most phases of the game. Early game, you have that range advantage. Late game, you've got the huge crits you can put down at such a large range. So it's a strong pick into Varus as well, where you can nullify some of his strong laning phase and make sure he's at a disadvantage come that level 6 where he really wants to make that all-in play.
Seraph going to get removed, followed up by the Urgot. Lots of team fight for both of these teams put together. Both need a little bit of time as well, scaling for their AD carries. Varus does hit his spike a little bit quicker than the Caitlyn does. Caitlyn needs about 3-4 items before she really is disgusting. Has some pretty decent lane pressure as well with the Piltover Pacemaker, and can zone with the Yordle Snap Traps. But it's going to really be about the late game for the Caitlyn. That's when we're going to see them come into their own as Gangplank gets removed from the top lane.
Seeing that a lot from the supports of this style, though, this kind of heavy CC tank support that's going to be providing a lot. And one thing I like about the Braum here is, come those later game team fights, that shield is going to be so beneficial in blocking so many attacks from the Varus. And it means that Caitlyn has so much more time to be able to put down the damage that she wants to. And it is going to be that Ornn we talked about earlier to pair with that Jarvan. And when you have a Braum as well, it just means that the CC is so much more effective.
Ornn getting picked up in the top lane. Counter pick will be in the mid for Sheffield then. They're deciding that that's where they want to put the pressure. Orianna's very safe and extremely potent, as we saw in the last game, even though it didn't win. It is always an option for Beely. Beely does like it. He also likes his Talia as well, plays quite a lot of that. Or control mages likes the Orianna, likes the Talia. Did see him play a little bit of the Syndra towards the end of last season as well in the UK scene, but it's not quite not quite as strong as it used to be. Although I haven't tried it since the AP changes to items.
The Aurelia?
I mean, it makes sense. You can have Aurelia dive in, especially if you pick up this Galio. Aurelia is basically going to be super, super strong. It's actually going to be the Corki in the mid lane for Beely. Champion we haven't seen him play in a little while.
Yeah, they needed something else to supplement the damage a little bit more securely than the Galio, who doesn't really provide a massive amount in terms of damage, so it makes sense. But what I want to think about here is the Aurelia into Ornn matchup. With Ornn having his laning phase nerfed a fair amount, in terms of the fact that he doesn't get that brittle auto attack off. That
baby!
This is what you're going to be talking about all game. Okay.
This is actually my main, so I'm pretty excited about this. Lux coming through into the Corki. Actually, generally Lux has quite a good matchup into the Corki. He can stay at range from him. Level 6, obviously, he does have that poke potential. Going to be very interesting how her plays this, whether or not we see the max CDR and just go for the constant ultimates. You get the reset on the kills, and not the reset, you get like 50% of your ulti charge taken off for getting a kill. That was a change.
It makes sense for Luden's Echo to be able to go for a combo mage like her, who's going to be bursting.
It's so good. It's so potent. I'm very excited to see this. I'm going to calm down a little bit. I'm going to let you talk about these while I collect my thoughts.
God. Suddenly all the Abby-Pop subscribers in the chat go wild. But
Is she in the chat?
She was earlier, but the Lux going to be coming through, as you said, going to be really strong in combo with the Jarvan and the Ornn, where you're going to be wanting to lock multiple people in a small area, and having that Lux ultimate to be able to burst down people with the AoE even more efficiently.
So I just saw a little dab in the
dab emote. Yeah, I saw it too. But I'm just thinking about the fact that she's going to be able to put down that light binding on top of the ultimate inside that Cataclysm. It's going to be, as you said, so potent.
It's going to be incredibly, incredibly potent. Also, when you get these, the ultimates stacked up as well, it basically at level rank 2 on the ultimate, she has a 35-second cooldown on that ultimate. That's not including the reset on kills, the reduction on the cooldown on kills. And then at level 16, when you have 3 ranks in it, you get, I think the ultimate comes up at about every 28 seconds, roughly, which is really, really filthy when you think about it. And some people will be running this 45% CDR, especially with the ultimate hat as well. You stack that up, and you get some serious, serious damage. And you can ult multiple times in a fight. She's one of the few champions who's not Corki, who can ult multiple times, use a big ulti a lot in one team fight.
Yeah, it's Orianna kind of borders on that, just to 5 to 10 seconds off being able to have that ult multiple times in a fight. But Lux, with that 50% CDR on kills, is going to be able to utilize it that much more effectively. But I do love the idea of being able to utilize the Cataclysm with it. But on the other side, we've got to talk about the composition as well. With the Sejuani plus Varus, that's going to be a lot of pick potential right there. And they're going to have Aurelia in these late game fights, who's going to have a lot of tenacity. It's going to be able to dive directly onto people in the backline. And actually, it's not going to be all that much tenacity when you think about it, because the way Aurelia used to work was depending on how many people you're around. With the passive, you'll get more tenacity, but now it's how many people you're outnumbered by, you get more tenacity. If you're 1v1, you get a flat amount. If you're 1v3, your tenacity suddenly goes up to above 35%. So it's really a lot more dependent, and that's one of the reasons Aurelia isn't seen so much anymore, because it was a large nerf.
Both of these mid laners running cleanse. Obviously, Corki has it to deal with the Lux light binding. Lux running that to deal with the Glacial Prison from Sejuani, and also the Varus ultimate as well. So definitely wanting to be able to keep themselves away from the hard engage. And it's going to be both of these mid laners. I expect them to kind of running away from the fight, just peeling away, get a range, and then just start firing away. Corki does need to be a little bit closer to the fight to land his damage and his abilities. Well, Lux can stay nice and safe at the back with the Caitlyn, and has a hella big front line with that Ornn, with the Jarvan and the Braum standing in front of them.
One of the things I'm looking forward to potentially seeing is Jarvan the Fourth looking up towards the top lane, being able to get an advantage for Ornn, because if you do that and Ornn is able to start pressuring into Aurelia, maybe run something like the excuse me, run the minion dematerializer and being able to use your ranged wave clear to push in, roam and land a big ultimate onto mid lane where you can walk down and start using the ram to be able to lock up the Corki. You can really start to get advantages for your team elsewhere on the map. And it can be so useful when you've got the Ornn in that way, because I used to see him run in support a fair amount, because what he does is he runs summon a spellbook, switches to TP, and then uses that ultimate, and it doesn't matter where from as long as the ultimate lands, because it's such an impactful team fight ultimate, being able to get that knock up and slow onto multiple members.
A couple of aftershocks. Aurelia running the aftershock obviously wants the resistances you get when you get the stun, but I think I prefer the Grasp of the Undying, or maybe something like a Fleet of Footwork as well. A couple of different options available to him there. That's what he's going for instead.
He's waiting for the new rune in Precision. That's going to be the big one. I mean, let's not look too forward to that rune. I can't remember the exact name of it right now, but it's an experimental rune in place to make bruises stronger. So after a few seconds in combat, your next auto attack does a large chunk of damage. And it's pretty disgusting, and it means that Darius is basically going to be permaban once that comes along.
Well, we've loaded through onto the Rift for our third and final game of the day. Let us know in the Twitch chat, guys, who you think will win. Will it be Best Mid UK, or will it be Sheffield? Minion Dematerializers is what Her is running on the Lux. Definitely going to look for the shove. Constant clearance is what he's wanting to see on that.
And it's a really interesting start here from the Corki, starting the Cull. Not going for a more defensive setup, not really thinking he can be punished by the Lux. So it's about Lux being able to use this minion dematerializer to hold the pressure in the mid lane and try and see if you can get that all-in combo onto the Corki. And that's why you run the cleanse, to be able to get out of the light binding.
Zimbili actually pick up the... I forget the name of it now. The Coal. There we go. Yeah. We had it at the beginning of the day. I'm just having a big old brain fart. Picking up the Coal on the Corki, basically meaning that he's going to be looking to just hard farm this game. Play it safe. Doesn't want to get too close to Lux. Knows that early it's going to be a poke fest. So stick at distance. Just hope you can hit your Triforce spike as quick as possible. Probably going to have to pick a Hex Drinker upper in this matchup, though, as well, which will delay that Triforce a little bit.
So what's the big level spike here for Lux in terms of... You're looking to level up your E first, I assume, so you can start to be able to clear the ranged minions in 1E. What sort of level spike are we looking at for that to be the big, potent point where she can start to look to 1E, 3 auto attacks, and be able to roam?
I mean, your level 2 is pretty good once you've got the light binding and the E as well, because you can just get the auto attack resets with the, well, not resets, but you can get the auto attack procs with the passive, which gives you good trading early. But the major power spike for Lux comes at about level 11, when that ultimate hits about 30-second cooldown, and you can just spam it constantly. You can use it to clear waves and then walk into a team fight later somewhere else on the map, and you'll have it just about up by the time you get there. So level 11 is when I expect to see her really start to come online on this Lux.
And by that point, though, we've got to worry because Corki is going to have that Triforce completed at that time. Going to be looking towards maybe a Zeal item on top of it, and then we know that's when he's got a lot of strength as well. And when you can get something like the package to deny the roaming potential of Lux to be able to go down to the bot lane, land a big ultimate, that can be a big issue, and it's going to be a point in the game that's going to be highly contested, and we've got to look at people like RNGesus and Trillip to be able to impact the map and make sure that one of these mid laners is able to have that larger impact.
Also, if he does pick up a Hex Drinker as well, that will be able to negate a lot of Her's kind of bursts, maybe deny a full wombo combo.
I think when you've got the cleanse, you don't need to worry about that so much.
Yes, there is that as well. You do have the cleanse, but it's more for these extended trades. But hold the phone, because RNGesus does force Godsazi's flash as he comes in with a flag and drag. Good level 3 gank to start it off. Get a little bit of pressure in that top lane. Make Ornn feel very, very comfortable in this matchup.
It's going to be a very quick stack up of this Cull in the mid lane to be able to get that big chunk of gold into your pocket. So I do hope he goes for the Triforce here, because that gold advantage that he's going to get from this really needs to be utilized as soon as possible. And he knows he's got that safe early few levels where Lux isn't going to do all that much to you, doesn't have the likes of the Ignite to punish you, has gone for the Cleanse herself to be able to survive an all-in from Trillip. So it's a situation in which Corki can actually take over the game, come that Triforce, come that Zeal where he starts really hitting hard.
It's going to be overall just a kind of pokey lane for both of these mid laners. No real kill threat for either of them without jungle intervention.
Wow, okay, this is interesting. I want to talk about the minion dematerializer and how this is being used right now. It's not being used in terms of just killing the cannon minions like we normally see, so you can ensure one wave of levity. Instead, it's being used on as many minions as possible to get that extra percentage damage onto the minions and ensure you get maximum push power in the early game until you hit that level 6 mark.
It's definitely the point of what he's looking to do with that minion dematerializer. RNGesus has had a pretty good start, obviously burnt that flash in the top lane, but outside of that, been relatively quiet. Tripili on the Sejuani, though, has got a small CS lead that will come from the fact he didn't gank, but it's only a 200 gold lead. So CS is always very deceptive in the jungle. It always looks like, man, 10 CS up already. That's quite big, but it's not really resulting in too much quite yet, because it'll be very dependent on what camps they decide to pick up. A lot of attention on this bot lane as well. Constant shoving coming through from Hector on this Caitlyn.
It's definitely the pressure that she's looking to have in these early levels, but it's Ro on this Alistar able to mitigate a lot of the pressure that they want to put out, because they want to be looking for these picks with the stacking up of the concussive blows, but it's denying the Caitlyn those last couple of auto attacks to be able to stun up an opponent and get that big chunk of damage down.
Makes sense why you pick the Alistar up in this scenario. You can tank the concussive blows for your ADC and then just pop your ultimate when you have the Unbreakable available to you. And you'll just be able to walk away A-okay. But you're seeing these traps slowly just kind of creeping upwards, just making it harder and harder for them to actually contest these minions. Strixhaus has basically been forced to farm under tower, basically giving over free poke to Caitlyn to start the game out.
It's slightly blocked in terms of vision by the tower, so it means that Ro just ends up stepping on it and taking a big chunk of damage down to half HP, but we're seeing a lot of bot lane here. I want to actually talk about top lane quickly, because look at how far this Ornn is getting up in terms of CS. Already up by 20, and when you have the passive that he does to be able to use that to get items while you're in lane without having to base and TP, it gives you that much more pressure to be able to exert on the lane. He's building Iceborne Gauntlets, so he's going to be able to utilize that sheen for even more trading pressure once he gets there. It's just so effective.
Right, a mana does mean that Lux will take a fair amount of poke from the Corki.
This is just the perfect item for Ornn here, though, because he's it gives him trading potential, it gives him armor, and it gives him the CDR and mana to be able to stay in lane for as long as possible.
Gosazi actually going for Grimir, going to fall down the Call of the Forge God, looking for Scuzzy, gets himself a knock-up, gets the Searing Charge out, but Winter's Wrath comes through, and First Blood onto Tripili.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really placed wards so far this game, so that ward that is in the top lane was placed by Jarvan, and it means that he is going to be punished by the wraparound from Sejuani. Very smart to be able to go around and avoid that ward to punish Grimir here, and it's going to give God Susie a little bit more levity in this lane, be able to catch up on CS, deny as much as she can from the Ornn, and at least give her the ability to become the big carry threat that we know Aurelia can be. So it requires a lot to get there. Building that Triforce first, big expensive item.
Very, very expensive item. We did see a little trade break out there. Unbreakable from Maru on the Braum was on point to make sure that Hector didn't fall. But even so, Piercing Arrow did some serious, serious damage. We are going to cut to a quick pause.
And so, we've got a little bit of a break here. There's unfortunately some issues coming through, which gives us a time to take stock of the game and look through the lanes here. So it's top lane. Oh, even though Ornn did go down for First Blood, he's still sitting around even in gold with this Aurelia. Thanks to that CS lead, building a lot of armor as well. So it's really hard for Aurelia to get that 1v1. You really need to see Trillip come up there multiple times to be able to give them the advantage to be able to 1v1 that Ornn. And on the other side of the jungle, though, RNGs is not really having performed in terms of doing anything in these early phases. Still not quite level 6, but still has the EQ combo to be able to land a big engage and be able to make a big play. Instead, it's just going to be picking up this mountain dragon, as you can see on the map.
We're seeing Beely as well. He's almost finished up that coal, 27 to go, and then he gets the big payout, which means he should have that Triforce spike relatively soon. I don't know if I can... Okay, he's got 400 gold. I can. In the pause screen, I didn't know if I could check how much gold he has. But he does have enough gold. He's not got enough gold quite yet. So the pause finally ends, and we are all ready to get back into the action. As it is, I say action, it's been quite slow, quite methodical to start it out. Mountain Drake is getting started up by RNGesus and her there to back it up as well. So that's a good objective, good rotation to start this off.
Yeah, being able to pick up that first dragon of the game and it being a mountain dragon just enables their siege once they get this Caitlyn to be even more potent. We know how strong Caitlyn is on the siege, but look at this composition with the hard engage that you have under a tower and the firing range that it's going to set up for Lux.
Oh, good Syrian charge coming through from Grimier. He's really, really making this Ornn matchup work in his favor, even though he went down to that first gank. And the Call of the Forge God's only about 20 seconds away from being up. Actually, I lie, it's even less than that. Could go for that all-in if he wants to onto Suzy.
He's got this big wave up. You should just use it to be able to pressure God Suzy off of that wave and deny as many as you can to this tower. But Shrellup is hovering around the corner, so doesn't want to push up too far.
Doesn't want to push up too far indeed, but he's going to be able to pick himself up a pretty decent wave on the Aurelia, catch up this CS deficit a little bit. But even seeing, even though, or maybe you're not seeing quite as many as we used to see in the top lane, it's still got some serious potency.
Just it's a little bit of Harvest Moon right now, just farming, you know. Everybody having a bit of a relaxing time.
Yeah, everyone's playing PvE, and then at 15 minutes they'll meet up and say, okay, we're done with PvE, it's time to play PvP, it's time to really go for each other. And I say that, we actually have a Corki heading his way up topside. There's 3 up there. Jarvan's also about. Here comes the package. His Grimier with a searing charge will be able to get out. Now he's looking to turn this around as RNGesus is there. Call of the Forge God gets thrown down, and now it could get turned back. Good ultimate goes a little bit wide, and Grimier is going to be able to walk away in the 2v3. Played that fantastically well with the fancy dancing. Yeah,
they're done with the world quests for the day. Want to play a bit of PvP, but nothing's really going to come of it, and it's just going to be a lot of ultimates used as Grimier got kind of lucky there on the timing of his searing charge, being able to get out of the way of the package, and the package actually knocked him further away from the Aurelia due to the timing, and it's rather unfortunate, but still currently sitting at this 700 gold lead. It's the side of best mid actually performing rather effectively thus far in terms of getting these small advantages, eking them out, and that's before the Cull big spike is going to come through as well.
Yeah, the Cull is 5 minions away, and unfortunately for Beely, because of that roam, he didn't actually get to pick those 5 minions up before basing. So he's got himself a Phage, he's got himself the Sheen. Cull's just about to cash in. You know, 600 gold to work on, so Triforce will be coming through in his next base. And Her has had a pretty quiet game on the Lux, does need a little bit more time before it starts to really get that burst out. Is building towards that Luden's Echo, and you're already starting to see that damage.
That's what I was waiting for.
Luminosity.
Just having 1E being able to clear the backline of minions, that's exactly what we want to see, and it gives us so much pressure in terms of the lane because she can use that ability yet again moments afterwards to be able to poke out her opponents.
Pink Ward in the bush should maybe telegraph the fact that RNGesus is maybe hanging about in this lane. Maybe looking for a potential dive under tower, as at the moment the main kind of damage done onto the towers once again is in this bot lane.
This is something though, in the bot lane we've seen Hector consistently do. He's been putting the traps down in line with the tower, so Ro can't see where they are, and he keeps stepping on these traps because they're just out of his vision, and it means that it's a free chunk of damage under tower consistently, as Lux just going to cancel that recall there from Corki. Deny him that base.
If we do have a little look at the gold at the moment, it is slightly in favour of Best Mid UK. And this comes off things like the Cull, off the First Blood. But it's nothing major, nothing overly impactful. First Turret Blood if
at that gold lead
Sheffield
on
can get
Trilip,
that,
though.
can equalize this out.
It's currently a 1,200 lead just on Trilip, and he's been able to farm out so much more effectively and get the gank stuff to be able to get his team this advantage. And that's pretty much where most of the gold advantage on the map is, directly into this Sejuani.
Sejuani feeling pretty good right now. Again, it's all about the Sejuanis in these games. Really showing up as Grimir does have a serious amount of pressure into God Suzzy. He's looking for the damage. He does have that Call of the Forge God, and Aftershock has already been burnt, so no additional stats for Suzzy. He's actually just going to have to burn the Transcendent Blades just to clear the minion wave out, to make sure he doesn't lose too much damage to his turret. Has got a jungle hanging about, though.
Q these easily, and that's going to give him the ability to just clear this wave so free.
Jungler coming through. Looks like we might see the Winter's Wrath coming through. Already got himself a couple of stacks up. There's going to be the ultimate thrown out, as Grimir still has flash if he wants to use it. I think he might just accept diff at this point. He gets the flash down this time. There's going to be the dunk as RNGesus finds it. A great knock up with the Searing Charge into the Cataclysm wall. And oh no! Does just about manage to dodge it out. Maybe a flag can secure it. Not going to be able to do so. And it's a 1-for-0 in the top lane.
And didn't give it up, flashed out so he could ult up both of them, buys the time for Jarvan to come in and combo down that Aurelia, who was already on low health from the trading beforehand. So it's going to be a turnaround there. It's going to put RNGesus at least back in terms of having pressure on the map, but he's still down 1,000 gold over Trilip.
And RNGesus is going to be able to start himself up on to the Rift Herald. Good objective control from Sheffield. Got himself that Mountain Drake already. And this gold lead is shrinking. 1,000 gold separating the teams at the moment. Trixos, even though he's been under some serious pressure from Hector and Muru in this bot lane, has actually managed to keep the CS completely even.
It's now that Rift Herald picked up, though, that's going to be an opportunity for them to try and pick up.
Flash engage into the knockup. Corrupting Chains go a little bit
Really
wide.
nice
But I
play.
think that's not going to be enough as Trixos is able to pick up the kill. He's going to look for the double. Fantastic flash
Slams the
headbutt.
cowbell. Oh,
Yeah, that is worth the cowbell indeed. And now they're going to be able to turn their eyes to their own Drake. And it will be a Mountain Drake for them to get. However, topside, RNGesus is hanging about there. He's looking for first turret blood as a response to this Drake going down. Full combo. There's the cleanse. Like you said, the cleanse is just really good at denying the Lux all in.
It's definitely going to deny a lot, but look at this Rift Herald in the top lane taking a big chunk out of this tower. Oh,
Actually getting the package delivered on. There's going to be a good light binding, but the damage is absolutely massive. Beely flashes forward with the auto attack and is able to pick up a kill. On the other side of the map, though, Grimir and RNGesus are slowly getting collapsed on. They maybe just want to look onto Scuzzy, but they need to be so careful as the rest of the team are starting to chase them up. RNGesus can flag and drag over the wall, but ultimate is available to Sejuani. Not going to actually go for it. And they managed to dissuade any more turrets going down.
So we can see here that Hector and Muru are going to be able to pick up this tower in the bot lane, but it's already a big chunk of gold they've lost here because of these plays being made on the side.
They're going to be able to pick up second turret as well.
There's just 2 towers in a row now, but because of the Rift Herald, it's just so much gold across the map that they're being able to get. Now, trying to even it up because they've been falling far down in terms of that CS. And look at it's like we said, the big lead in the jungle, the big lead in terms of mid lane as well for Beely. And that's where the advantages are coming through here for the side of best mid. But on the side of Sheffield, that they've got the strength in the bot lane, they've got the ability to try and make these plays. But the 2 kills going on to Varus were huge to be able to make up for all the pressure that Hector had in the early game.
And as far as Sheffield are concerned, yes, they're down in kills, but the gold is equal. They've pulled it back because of these 2 turret plays. Now they're able to rotate around the map, maybe put some more aggressive and deeper wards in to spot out the rotations of Sejuani. Light binding from her is going to come through, followed up by a little bit of damage, but it is a pretty thick slab of steak, so you're not going to be able to cut it through with just a light bulb. It looks like actually we might see Grimmier getting stunned up. Beely, hop forward. Call of the Forge Gods coming down. Grimmier's going to turn it, and he's actually going 1v2. Beely is exceptionally low, but God Suzzy can actually make it work. The Bellows Breath is doing a lot of damage as he goes forward with the Searing Charge. Beely now going to be able to pick up the kill as God Suzzy gets it, but it wasn't worth because they lost a turret in the mid.
Buying the time there, the 2v1 to be able to hold the mid lane. And now
we'll have to hold that fort because Glacial Fish is there. Hector's gonna just be free firing away. He is exhausted, and Tricksource has picked himself up a kill. The corrupting chains do not spread enough. Rinter's Wrath is there. Her has still got the ultimate. It's not available yet, actually. Final Spark is just about to come up. Ace in the hole. Final Spark. All of the AoE, all of the damage is blowing out. And Flag and Drag from RNGesus has now put him in a sticky situation as Tricksource is able to free fire onto him. Shields are there from the Lux, but Hector is now going to be in such a scary position. He wants to make this work, can't quite find it, and Tricksource goes 4-0 on the Varus.
And this is the big turnaround in terms of the game that they needed. They were always winning in terms of the gold, but they're never winning in terms of the pressure, and now finally they get back onto the map, and they now need to start picking up these towers, start getting that standing gold, because the fact that they lost that Rift turret and that top lane tower has bought so much time for the side of the Caitlyn to be able to start scaling up. And you need to be able to shut her down before she gets to this big 2-3 item spike.
Now that is a new item on her. I forgot about that one. The Oblivion Orb.
The Oblivion Orb that builds into the Morellonomicon, which is going to be... every time you land spell damage onto somebody, it's going to apply Grievous Wounds to them for a little bit. And also it gives 15 magic penetration. So it's effectively like they switched part of the old Liandry's with part of the Morellonomicon, and it's means that the Morellonomicon's more focused on bursting people, and the Liandry's is more focused on beating tanks.
This is one of the things actually they did change about the Morellonomicon. Now it obviously gives you a little bit more capability. Final Spark is there. Tricksource loses so much health, and that wombo combo, now that Lux is level 12, is there. And is going to be able to start applying these Grievous Wounds with the new and changed Morellonomicon. Miru's even up with her. Actually, maybe you're looking to get these concussive stacks coming up, but Sejuani's there, so I'm going to deny any potential look for a team fight.
And so they're just holding onto this top lane here, and the Lux being able to do a lot of damage is going to dissuade a lot of this Varus's pressure, but he's got back to full HP now and continue up the siege. There's Trillip just finding a lot of vision pressure and constantly invading into the enemy jungle. He's been providing so much to his team, and we talked a little bit before the games today about how the NUEL is run by the junglers right now. And Trillip is one of those junglers that's performing to such a high level. He has played on competitive teams, so he has that experience. And he is out-jungling RNGesus just completely.
He's doing a very, very good job of that, but I would say RNGesus has had the superior kind of map control. He's been everywhere as Grimmier once again finds himself the victim to 3 members diving in. Call of the Forge God is there. Ultimate is flashed away. He does actually miss the knock-up, and God Suzzy is taking some serious damage from the tower, but once again, 1v3, Grimmier falls.
So the reason I'm so impressed with Trillip is not just because of the fact that he ended up farming a lot and getting a lot of gold. It's because he had 3 losing lanes and was still able to have such a large impact on the map and still able to completely out-jungle RNGesus. And really, it should have been the other way around. It should have been Jarvan in his face, constantly able to ward up and know exactly where he is on the map at all times.
Light Binding goes a little bit wide. Here comes the engage. The Chilling Smite's there as he's managed to get the stun down. RNGesus super, super low, but is able to peel away with the Flag and Drag. And the 3-man Death Ball, which we've seen from Best Mid UK, isn't able to find a pick this time.
And so now it's just this 2v2 in the top lane, this complete lane swap. But the issue is the side of Best Mid are in a long lane, so if we see anybody head up there, they can be pressured out. But right now, it's just everybody trying to hover around this bot side, trying to take control of the Dragon Pit. But that ends up going to Best Mid as well, and they get their second Dragon of the game.
Have been able to get their second Dragon. It's going to be the Ocean Drake as well, so they got a little bit more regen, means these fights...
It helps when Baron's up.
Helps definitely when Baron's up, but it's also about these kind of... At the moment, they're taking quite a lot of poke from Hector and Miru. Now with that, they're going to be able to heal up. Obviously, Alistair does have his Triumphant Roar as well, so fair amount of sustain in this top side. So have a little look at the items that have been picked up. It's a black cleaver onto RNGesus. Not going into the strictly tank, looking more bruisery. Aurelia's got that Tiamat and that Triforce into the Abyssal Mask and Iceborne Gauntlet for Grimier.
So now it's really just a defensive setup from him where he wants to be the big tank in the team fight. But what I'm interested by here is that RNGesus is going for more of a bruiser setup on this job and trying to supplement the damage of the Caitlyn and the Lux. We know Lux is an all-in burst mage, and once those abilities are down, doesn't really have much to provide. So needs something to be able to set up the Caitlyn and be able to do that extra damage to chunk through the likes of Beely and Trick Source. But he's also going to have the Cleaver to be able to chunk through the front line of Trilip and God Suzy, so he's able to get that little bit more, just cleave away at the armor and be able to help up the Caitlyn to be able to do that little bit more damage to the front line.
Lots of people sniffing around this top side at the moment. Her hasn't actually been spotted out. And Squad hanging about in a bush on the Alistair could go for the play. Jarvan's also managed to position himself nicely into the bush. Here comes the flash, followed up by the Glacial Prison. That is going to be Trick Source, who's unstoppable. RNGesus is exhausted, and Beely's entered in. Light Binding on the side goes a little bit wide, and it's just falling apart as Sheffield are losing members left, right, and center. Beely is able to pick up a kill. The Winter's Wrath comes down for the slow, and Miru stands behind the minions, but it's a double kill onto Beely. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Suzy is able to dive out with the Blade Surge, but does actually get the reset all the way out. He's going to take a lot of damage from Grimier and has no turret to run to for quite a while. So Call of the Forge Gods coming through as well. Flashes away from the knock-up. And best mid UK, 10 kills up on their counterpart here. And they're going to turn towards Baron Nashor.
Yeah, with the jungler still down for the next 5 seconds, he's going to have a lot of time to be able to take this. They've got that Mountain Dragon as well to help. And the Rage Blade from Varus is completed. So they've got all the ability in the world to be able to do this.
It breaks my heart to see a Lux getting out-pressured this hard, but hers rotations just have not been anywhere near what Beely's been able to do. And now we're seeing a fair amount of poke come over the wall from the Caitlyn, but doesn't really resort in too much as Baron Nashor is going to get picked up. And at 24 minutes, this game could start to get turned around in favor. I say turned around, they're up in gold, but they can start to pick up these turrets, which they've been bleeding earlier on, and start to really get a proper grip on this game.
Yeah, and with the towers being able to catch up now by picking those up, and they already just picked up one of them moments ago, looking to pick up this mid lane one as well. A lot of standing gold on the map as we talk about, because what it means is it's fairly easy gold to get, but it's 1,000 gold instantly into your team's pockets, and means that you get a big swing towards a gold lead. And now we can see they're currently up 6,000 gold, and just moments ago, about 3 or 4 minutes ago, that was looking to be around 2,000 gold. So it shows you how big these swings can be, picking up a tower and the Baron.
Mid lane turret still stands, though, for the side of Sheffield, which, while that remains, it means deep warding is a little bit harder for the side of best mid UK. As you currently see, they haven't actually got any aggressive wards. As Grimmy is actually calling down the Call of the Forge God. Goes a little bit wide, doesn't actually quite make it connect, and Trippy can't
what you were just saying about wards, though, that's very evident in terms of the vision score. You can look at the Jarvan, well, pretty much every member, and they've put down so much vision to defend themselves and be able to push into the enemy jungle because all 3 of those outer towers are down. And now that if they take down this mid lane tower, they can start to look to put that vision back into the enemy jungle, as you were saying, and it's going to provide so much to the side of best mid. But Premier getting chunked out here.
Grimmy getting really, really hard chunked as the Blade Surge is doing a lot of damage. God Suzy is looking to try and get himself an execute off. He goes forward under tower, takes a lot of damage though from the Brittle proc. He's obviously got himself heal in his kit with the equilibrium.
You can tell it's 8.4 when Ornn gets beaten in a trade 1v1.
Oh, Trippy actually takes some serious damage. Chains of Corruption go down though to deny anyone else from getting closed on. And super minions... Sorry, Baron empowered minions in the bot lane, still starting to put in a bit of pressure.
As we can see here, RNG's looking for the God Suzy here, and just going to end up backing off. But the Triforce Corki able to take that top lane tower, and the cannon minion. This is the buff that came through. The cannon minions do more damage to towers. And it does mean that the mid lane tower is just a light brisk of wind from being knocked down on its own, and that's going to be all 3 of the outer towers, leaving only the inhibitor towers. And a huge swing of gold. We talked about it already, but now look at this. 9,000 gold, pushing 10,000 if this tower goes down.
And literally 2 minutes ago I said, and while that mid lane tower remains, they're not going to be able to get any wards in aggressively. Mid lane tower falls, and if you have a look at the map, there's only a couple now, but there are wards slowly starting to sneak their way into the side of Sheffield's jungle, which gives Best Mid UK a seriously solid chance of actually being able to get some more aggressive plays with complete certainty that they're not going to get collapsed on by a flank.
This is what we were waiting for, the bases to come through to get the pink wards to now invade into the opposing jungle and set it up. You don't have the tracker's knife on the junglers anymore, so it's that much harder to get vision.
Gonna have to watch out. Flag and drag comes through from RNGesus. He has also got the shield from Lux. Make sure he stays up. But this will be a Cloud Drake coming through, the 3rd Drake for Best Mid UK. Baron buff all timed out now, so that's off the cards, but they made that Baron buff work for them. They've only got 1 lane to deal with, and then all of the outer turrets are dead, and that 1 lane is exceptionally low. It's on 101 hate. Oh, don't worry, it's dead. It's dead, don't worry, ignore me.
The Baron does end up wearing off, but it's still, they got enough pressure from it. They got a huge swing of gold. Now if they look to take a team fight, they're at such an advantage.
Call of the Forge God gets thrown down. Beely with the Valkyrie can't quite. Alistair! 2-man knock-up! And now Tricksource, untouched, does manage to take the final spark, but he is taking some serious damage from RNGesus, but it's still not enough. Grimio with a searing charge. Tricksource flashes away, and Grimio is chasing him down.
Wow.
That's going to be a double kill onto Beely. That's going to be 4 members falling. The flash forward and her with a light binding, but Beely is looking for the triple kill, and he manages to make it happen. Inhibitor turrets will fall down, and this will be game at 29 minutes. Versus Sheffield. Best Mid UK show up in a fantastic team fight, but they didn't even start.
Tricksource played so well in that fight. He was pressured out multiple times. He had the Jarvanot on top of him. He had Ornn directly on top of him. He survived, put down the damage necessary, was able to chunk through the front line, and that's going to be the fight going over to Best Mid UK and the game.
It was a longer game, and it took half an hour to end it, but the Nexus finally falls, and Best Mid UK had a really good game there. And once again, Varus is just been so potent on this patch.
But it's we talked a bit about Varus, but there's one champion we haven't talked about enough, and it's this Alistair from Row. So consistent with the engage. The flash 3-man pulverized there in that final fight to get the huge shutdown from the initiation after Hector and Grimir were looking to go in. And it just means so much for them that they're able to turn it around. And I'm sorry you didn't get to see Lux perform like you would have wanted, but Best Mid UK deserved this win.
Lux still did more damage than Varus, so I'll be okay with that. No, it was an unfortunate game for them. The rotations from Beely were just vastly superior to her. Constantly was able to get on the map and make plays for his team. Ended 6-0 on that Corki. Varus Tricksource, you saw in that last team fight how well he positioned, constantly avoiding all of the attempts on him, and he was super low the most of that fight. Godsuzzy had a really good game on the Aurelia as well, just constant split pushing, applying constant pressure onto Grimir, who was doing his best doing his best Kerberos impression and constantly overextending in lane and getting punished for it.
Yeah, he really was punishable in that lane, but it really came down to the fact that he did not ward his lane up anywhere near enough, and he lost a lot of pressure because he'd done so. And it ends up being that win going over to Best Mid UK because of the pressure they were able to exert with Trillip, because of the pressure they were able to get from Beely and the two of them making plays together.
Yeah, really good showing up from Best Mid UK. Good game to end the day on. And with that, that will be the NUEL Week 3 tied up for this week. We will be back tomorrow with CSGO, and on Thursday, it will be Overwatch. So hopefully we see you there. And everyone else, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I wanna build you up, then pick you apart. Let me see the dark sides as well as the bright. I'm gonna love you inside out. I'm gonna love you inside out. Let me see the dark sides as well as the bright.
I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you.